afternoon, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. I know the stream may look and sound a little different because I am not at my home studio. I am away from my home studio right now for a couple days. But we are bringing you live coverage anyway. So please bear with me if there's any kind of technical difficulties. Hopefully it won't be too different, but we'll do our best. We'll do our best. I think I actually have a live shot of the Guadalupe River, but what I need to do is actually get it on the screen. So let's see if I can do this. Hang on a moment here. All right, so I want to get rid of that. Oh. Is it working? Do I have it here? Let's see. I think this is it. That's the Guadalupe River. That is Kerr County. Interesting. Okay. So I'll put that up there for a second. Kerr County, Guadalupe River, Kerr County, Texas. Okay. So if I put that up, is that working? I think it is. Okay, just so you can see it there. I don't know if the camera is going to, that camera might pan around some or zoom in on some things. So we want to get you an update on this. I was traveling yesterday, so I didn't get on yesterday, but wanted to catch you up on this enormous number of missing, in addition to the terrible death toll of 119, over 170 people missing. Surprisingly, yesterday the number shot up, and it wasn't that, I forget what the overall number of missing was. I'm trying to remember what it was 2 days ago. Now I just remember this one. Oh yeah, the overall missing a couple days ago, we didn't even have a number. That number hadn't been identified, had it? So it's really bad. We'll keep an eye on this camera, see if it pans around at all. Let me check one other thing here. Hang on a moment. Gotta keep my eye on my other cameras too. So we're going to show you that update from yesterday because I didn't even get to cover it yesterday. We were so busy. I was traveling, so we're going to show you that. Then there's also an update from today that I haven't even gotten a chance to watch yet. So we have the update from yesterday and the update from today. Our viewer Susan CHF says both numbers have sadly increased. San Isidro said more rain tonight in hill country. I'm not aware that, I can check and see if there's any kind of flood watches or anything, but National Weather Service said, oops, no, we don't want to do that. We want to do this. 4:15 p.m. radar update. We continue to monitor showers and thunderstorms across the coastal plains and another batch just north of the hill country. We expect most of the activity north of the hill country to decrease in coverage as it approaches the area. That's good. They just posted that about half an hour ago. Let me thank our moderators for being here. I really appreciate it. And again, I am coming to you not from my usual studio, but from the remote studio, because I am not at home at the moment. I'm away for a couple days. So I appreciate your patience if it doesn't look and sound exactly the same. Hey, thank you to our moderators. We have Janet B. is moderating. Thank you, Janet. And Ruth Krafasi is moderating. Thank you so much. And we have, let's see what I can see here. Good Luck Duck, LB Prairie Dawn. I got that fire, Matthew Kohai 3. Thank you, over there on Twitch. And we have, what is this? Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X. I think I need to move this up a little bit. And also Valerie Gale Griffin is moderating on Facebook, and Kay Lowry Body. And Margaret Riley, thank you. Also, thank you to Kristen McConnell Gates for the Facebook stars. And thank you to hang on, I want to thank, and then we'll get into everything here. Skylar Shelton. She said, I live in Austin. It hasn't stopped raining since even today. I guess it's raining there. I'm not hearing about any kind of catastrophic flooding today, though, in Texas, like last week. But please keep an eye out, pay it to your local authorities to see what they're saying. Thank you. Thank you, Kerry Poteet, for the memberships. Andy Hootie, our new member. Skylar Shelton, I appreciate it. Kieran Wilson, Nina Drew, I Hear Crickets, and Kenneth Colton, who's been our member almost 3 years. Thank you, Kenneth. Okay, so let's get to some updates here. Now, as I mentioned, one thing I want to do while we're on the air today is I do want to watch the briefing from yesterday when it was first announced. Governor Abbott was at that briefing, and that's when it first announced that so many people were missing. Okay, so we're going to check that out. And also there was a new update today, so I wanted to check that out as well. But before we do that, let me look at a couple things here. Hang on. It's a little different doing this when I am not in the home studio, especially when I haven't done it here in a while. Hold on a moment here. Let me show you something. Let me show you something here. Well, as we look at this, I'll tell you. The Washington Post says at least 173 people missing. As now, some of the different articles have different numbers. I've seen a couple of articles. I believe Reuters is one of them with 119 reported dead. Oop, the camera's panning around. Hold on a moment. Camera is moving. I'm going to turn off the volume. I'm going to turn off the volume of the camera, but the camera is moving. So I don't know what it's going to. Oh, it might show us some damaged houses or something. Flood damage, I think. Showing us some flood damage. That's a live camera from Kerr County next to the Guadalupe River. I don't know if that used to be a house there or what. Let's see, it's panning around. Yeah, that's debris right there. See there, look at that. Wow, that's debris, and then there's a house that's like collapsed, it looks like. Right? Debris in the front, and then on the right, it looks like a collapsed house. And as it pans out, you'll see the river. There's the river. I don't know if they can see anything else from this camera view. You can see that. What's over here? Camera is panning to the right. Let's see. Is it going to zoom in, or is it just going to stay there? I can't really see too well what's there because it's not zoomed in. Oh, my head said that looked like a collapsed house. Now the camera is panning in here. That looks like is that something wrapped around a tree? Is that like what is that, guys? Is that a boat? Is that a piece of a house or a car? I'm not sure. Oops, there's a typo. Somehow that happened when I was typing it. It says Guadalupe, not Guadalupe. Just Cause says maybe that was a tin roof. Some people thought it was a mattress. I couldn't really tell. A mattress? Was it a mattress? Probably go back over there. So we'll keep an eye on this camera. Excuse me. Okay, so what I was going to mention to you was that we're going to talk some about the response. So Reuters is saying that the number of missing was above 180. I don't know, though. So this Reuters article, hold on, I'm going to wait till the camera pulls up, zooms in again so you can see this again. Hang on. So on the right, it's like a collapsed house. And then in the foreground, that looks like, oh, are they like, there's somebody stacking debris. Look, there's somebody putting debris on a pile. I mean, that obviously looks like a collapsed structure or just a collection of debris. There's a bunch of, they're bringing stuff over from one place to the other. Now, what is that down there? Was that another house down there? I can't even tell what we're looking at here. What am I looking at? Some windows of something. I think windows? Am I wrong? Oh, no, that's a truck. That's a truck down there. Hold on, look, it's a truck. You can't see it. It's a truck, see? Hey, guys, that's a pickup truck. But that looks like it's not parked there. It looks like it's just sitting down there. Is the back of it all messed up? Like here? There might be structures that weren't even there anymore. Yeah, I have on my setup I'm using right now, my remote setup, I don't have my big monitors, so everything is smaller. So it's harder for me to see everything. Hang on a moment here. Okay, so I know Reuters reported in their article, in the Reuters article from this afternoon, they said that at least 119 people were dead. We're gonna, I might show, and as of last night, more than 170 people were unaccounted for. Reuters says that the Kerr County seat, Kerrville, was devastated when torrential rains lashed the area early on Friday, dropping more than a foot of rain in less than an hour. Oops, hold on, what's here? What's here? Is there some kind of damage there? Oh, a broken tree or trees? The Guadalupe River rose to a height of nearly 30 feet. As of this morning, the death toll in Kerr County was 95, including 36 children, including at least 27 campers and counselors from Camp Mystic, a Christian girls' summer retreat on the banks of the Guadalupe. So there are, as many of you I know I'm aware, there are questions about, could something have been done, should something have been done to warn people this was coming, to evacuate people earlier so the human toll could have been lessened. That is an ongoing debate right now. And we're going to show you the update from today and from yesterday when some of that is talked about. And right now we're showing you some live footage from Reuters of Kerr County, Texas, and some of the destruction. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And again, I wasn't able to get on yesterday because I was traveling, but this was really shocking yesterday when it was announced that so many people were missing. Mistress Yoda Gaming says many places along the river have zero cell reception. And the push alerts only go to people listed in local white pages, not all the tourists and vacationers. That looks like a, what is that, a tree snapped off or something? Or is that a car? Is that a car? What am I looking at? I don't even know. Is that like a piece of wood? I can't even tell what it is. That wasn't a car, right? I couldn't tell what we were looking at right there. I think it was like a bunch of trees snapped. Maybe it was like a wood shaped like a car. This is a car right there. That's a car. That's a truck. Nancy says, just a tragedy all around. We're seeing on this shot people, maybe people who live in this house. I can't see inside this house. There's a huge amount of rubble here, but I don't know if that's from that house or a different house. Looks like there's maybe some damage here. And then over on the right, there's a collapsed house. But we can't see that in the shot right now. The collapsed house is right over here. No, it's further over. We saw it before. I think it's like right up here. Vicky Vic thinks they need to investigate who fumbled the warning response. Now, yesterday, Governor Abbott said that in Kerr County alone, there were 161 people known to be missing and at least 12 people missing in other parts of the state. As of yesterday, so Camp Mystic announced that 27 campers and counselors totaled. Well, they said 27 campers and counselors. So that's 27 campers and counselors at up to 27 were lost. And 5 children and a counselor remain missing as of yesterday. Well, here's that truck again. That is a truck that has a tree laying on it, and it looks like the back is messed up. And also we heard yesterday that the last live rescue was Friday. The last live rescue was Friday, we heard yesterday, and today is Wednesday. And Friday is the day that the huge flooding, a lot of it happened. Did the camps have weather radios? I don't know what all the camps had. We're going to be talking about that, some of the questions. The Washington Post says meteorologists last week had cautioned that there was potential for flooding late Thursday and early Friday across central Texas, the most flash flood prone region in the country. Is it really the most flash flood prone region in the country? Yes. According to the Washington Post, the Texas Hill Country is the most flash flood prone region in the country. I have another article I'm going to show you about that. Hang on one second here. Sorry, I'm just pulling something up here. Oh, here, I found it. As the Washington Post says, meteorologists last week had cautioned that there was potential for flooding late Thursday and Friday across central Texas, the most flash flood prone region in the country. But there was little indication of just how torrential and unrelenting the downpours would become. As we look at this, some damage here from the flood. The Post says the disaster has compelled a renewed emphasis on a years-long push for a comprehensive flood monitoring system in Kerr County. The Post also said the magnitude of the disaster exposed gaps in the ability of Central Texas to warn people including a delayed flood risk alert from Kerr County and stalled development of a flood, is the most flash flood prone region in the country, and officials know the Hill County's terrain can turn slow, shallow rivers into walls of water. But even as weather forecasts began to hint at the potential for heavy rain on Thursday, the response exposed a disconnect. Few, including local authorities, prepared for anything but their normal 4th of July. When the precipitation intensified in the early morning hours Friday, many people failed to receive or respond to flood warnings at riverside campsites and cabins that were known to be in the floodplain. Now, what is this? I don't know what this is. Some people thought it was a mattress. Is that a mattress? Is it a mattress? That might be a mattress. Randy Menace says, I doubt anyone could predict a 37-foot high wall of water. The video froze. Try refreshing if the video froze. I didn't notice it here. Drifter Shelley thinks you can't blame anyone. Disasters happen. Rescuers were amazing. Well, certainly a shout out to all of the first responders who've been working so hard the last several days in Central Texas to try to save people and have been saving people. Now, is that house damaged? What is going on with this house? What are we looking at here? I can't tell. Certainly there's a lot of damage in that area. I don't know if that house got moved or what. There's red writing on the house, so I guess it's been searched. I assume that's the rescuers who write on the house, so maybe it's severely damaged. But I don't know for sure. Distant Galaxy thinks that house doesn't belong there. I mean, you might be right. It might just have gotten deposited there. I don't know for sure. Susan thinks maybe it was swept away and landed there. Pepto says it looks like it slid down the bank. Crochet thinks it looks misplaced. I mean, I don't see a driveway there or anything, but I don't know for sure. Cray Cray thinks it's not where it normally is located. The Washington Post, in their article I was just mentioning, said some alerts about life-threatening flooding didn't come until the pre-dawn hours and to areas where cellular reception may have been spotty. The disaster has prompted renewed emphasis on a years-long push for a comprehensive flood monitoring system in Kerr County. And it has raised questions about whether anything could be enough to prepare and protect communities in places like this, where cell phone-based alerts can be unreliable, emergency managers have limited resources, and the potential for disaster is high. Let me pass along this story of one person's experience that the Washington Post talked about. They said Melinda Cortez had never been to Kerrville. She, her family, and some good friends rented a few cabins at the HTR campground. So the HTR campground is a campground that we have heard a bunch of people were missing from, because I know we talked about reporting on that in the last few days, the HTR campground. I ultimately don't know how many people are still missing from there. But anyways, Melinda Cortez, says the Post, had never been to Kerrville. She, her family, and some good friends rented a few cabins at the HTR campground along the Guadalupe River for the 4th of July River Festival. After dinner at Howdy's restaurant, they sat on the porch, talking and laughing until about midnight. It was lightly raining. At 4:45 a.m., she awoke to another camper banging on the cabin door, yelling to get out now. Water was everywhere. A minute later, the HTR campground sent a text to guests that we have just received notice from the fire department that we need to evacuate the park due to flooding. Water from the river, which had been about a football field away from her cabin steps, was up to the porch. A Ford F-150 truck and trailer floated by. Wow, that's crazy. So this is someone who talked to the Washington Post who was staying at the HTR campground. As you see a damaged truck there. Hang on a second. I think you're going to see this house that they have on the screen. There's a bunch of debris there. Watch this. There's the debris, and then look at coming up right here. See, on the right, there's like a collapsed roof. That's a bunch of debris there. Susan thinks those are the homes we looked at the other day. There might have been, I think maybe there was a camera on the ground over there a couple days ago that we had, maybe, possibly. And that house there might be out of place, possibly. Hang on a moment. Oh, I wanted to mention that again, what I just was telling you about. So this is, the Washington Post talked to somebody who was staying at the HTR campground. And just to summarize, she had never been to Kerrville. Her and some family and friends rented a few cabins at the HTR campground, which is about a football field away from the Guadalupe River. After dinner, they sat on the porch till about midnight. It was lightly raining. At 4:45 a.m., she awoke to another camper banging on the cabin door, saying to get out, yelling to get out now. Water was everywhere. A minute later, the camp sent a text to guests that said, we have just received notice from the fire department that we need to evacuate the park due to flooding. Water from the river, which had been about a football field away from her cabin steps, was up to the porch. A Ford F-150 truck and trailer floated by. Glancing at her phone, she noticed two new alerts. One was a flash flood warning. The other was from the campground, sent 5 minutes before the man pounded on their cabin door, telling them to evacuate. By then, the water was up to their waist. She, like many people who were in town or visiting that weekend, did not know the area could flood. There are more than a dozen camps in the Guadalupe River region. We're talking about not just like summer camps, we're talking about like campgrounds. And many of those camps are adjacent to or partially inside high-risk flood zones, according to maps from FEMA. But Cortez lives in Austin, a few hours away, and did not know about the risk or its history. She said, I never thought that whole area could flood. Oops. Two old people and a couch says they should have signs posted. Would help people know to pay attention. Two old people on a couch. I don't know if they do have any such signs. Flo Rince says Texas does have a planning problem. Does not have a planning problem. It has an implementation and administration problem. One of our viewers just said 170 missing. Yes, in case you missed it, over 170 missing. Over 170 missing. Oh, see on the right there, the collapse, that fallen roof thing? Let me read you a little more about the alerts. This is the Washington Post had an article called "Texas Hill Country is no stranger to flash floods. Why were so many caught off guard?" Here, I'll show you. Texas Hill Country is no stranger to flash floods. Why were so many caught off guard? So the article mentions for emergencies and disasters, leaders often use a patchwork of alerts and warnings to try to get to different populations. The National Weather Service, which had been warning about the coming rains and potential for flash floods for days, has stations across Texas. Its Austin San Antonio office sent alerts on social media as well as using wireless emergency alerts, which use cell phone towers to target people in a specific area. Local authorities, including the police, often post updates to their Facebook pages and websites. Kerrville and the county use a web-based notification system called Code Red, which people have to sign up for. The holes in this warning system are not new and highlight the challenge of urgently communicating weather risks, as a warming climate, says the Washington Post, drives more atmospheric moisture which can come down in sudden bursts. And in remote areas with fewer resources for emergency management operations, the breakdown can be even worse. Kerrville Police, the Kerr County Sheriff, and other official pages did not mention looming weather and its risks on their social media profiles, posting on July 3rd about the upcoming 4th of July River Festival. Officials from those agencies, county government, and the county judge did not immediately respond to a request for comment. For this article, the Post said, emergency management and weather experts say it's often a challenge to warn and get alerts to an entire community, especially when disasters unfold in a matter of moments. Meteorologist Carrie Burgess said the warnings are called flash flood warnings for that reason. They happen in moments almost as quickly as tornadoes. You can't predict where a tornado will strike down, and you cannot predict exactly where heaviest rainfall totals will fall. He urges that when watches were first issued, and that is, what are we looking at there, guys? I can't tell what that is. That's some sort of debris. Can you tell what that is? Because I can't. Pepe says it rose 32 feet in 90 minutes. That sounds about right. I think that's roughly correct what Pepe said. Thank you, Pepe. By the way, thank you to Allison Hargroves for the memberships. Thank you, Allison. Also, B. Earhart, our member. Thomas Jensen. Captain Jerry Donnelly. Captain Jerry Donnelly believes the height of the river was higher than the Hurricane Katrina storm surge. I would have to look that up. But thank you, Captain Jerry Donnelly. The river, I believe, went up by more than 30 feet. Also, it's not just people next to the river who were impacted, right next to the river. So I just read you an eyewitness account of someone who was staying about 100 yards from the river. And then they woke up at 4:45 and the water was all around them and it was up to their waist. And also, I was listening to an interview last night of someone who was staying about 200 yards from the river, 200 yards from the river. And they woke up and had to flee in an emergency because the water was threatening them. The water was there and it was rising on them. So it's not just people who are right next to the river. You're people 100 yards, 200 yards away. Look at the video we saw of Camp Mystic. The Camp Mystic cabins. I mean, Camp Mystic is next to the river, but it's not like the cabins are like you step out of your cabin into the river. Thank you, Chris Lee, by the way. Violet Sterling, our member. Viral Dogs, our member. Ren, our member. And I want to be able to shout out our mods as well. Hang on one moment here. Our viewer says, Tim Me says, I've experienced flash flooding, and it will blow your mind just how fast water will increase and how much raw power it has. I might have a video I can show you that's relevant to this. Give me 1 second here. I definitely have some relevant video, but hold on. Ooh, the camera's moving around. The camera is moving around a bit. So what are we looking at here? We're seeing some sort of excavator type vehicle. I don't even know what that, where we're looking at there. Thank you to Vincent Crothers, our member, by the way. Lisa Seckler says 100 yards would seem safe enough for sure. Well, I mean, if you're not, familiar with the area and you don't know that could happen, you might assume it is. By the way, thank you to, I want to thank our mods. Oh, by the way, I owe a thank you to Gifted Red Wing for subscribing and Annie Cush over there for subscribing on Twitch. Thank you to Dark Crypto 800 as well and Flumpingtons for subscribing. And thanks to our moderators for being here. We have Hearsay, LB Prairie Dawn, I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, and McBritches on Twitch. Thank you. We have on Facebook Valerie Gail Griffin, Christina Neal, Margaret Riley, and Kay Lowry Body. And thank you, by the way, to Athena Gunlock for the Facebook stars. And Kristen McConnell Gates. Paul Anderson is moderating too. Thank you. What is that? What is that in the tree? Anybody see what that was in the tree? That black thing in the tree? I just saw it. Trash can? I didn't catch it. Garbage bin? People are saying it's a garbage can. That's the Guadalupe River. Linda Bell, Clary, Misha moderate for us on X. And thanks to our YouTube moderators as well. I really appreciate it. Ruth Krafasi and Janet B. And thank you to Trying to Survive, who says, keep in all in prayer responders, volunteers, and all those affected. And also Julia Gulia 41. Thank you so much, Julia Gulia, for your support. I'm going to be showing you some other videos. Oh, I wanted to mention, I know a number of you know this, but why is that area so flood prone? So the Washington Post says, Central Texas, specifically Kerr County and the surrounding areas, is made of undulating hills and steep canyons filled with thin, drought-stricken soil and slick limestone. So again, hills and canyons, thin soil and slick limestone. Normally, the rivers and streams run clear, tranquil, and shallow, but when it rains, the topography causes the river to roar. The silky, shallow limestone riverbeds turn the meandering water into massive walls of concrete that could hurl water downstream in a matter of minutes. So you have hills and you have soil that doesn't really absorb water. So you can get a lot of water rushing down into a smaller area in a fast amount of time. While much of the region is rural and remote, there is a heavy concentration of old mobile home parks, many filled with vulnerable residents along and near the river. Also, the Post points out that Kerrville has been growing steadily, and new residents may not have lived the lived experience of how quickly heavy rains can spark a flash flood. I mean, I know if somebody didn't tell me, if I went to a place like this and I didn't know anything about it, and I was staying 100 yards from a river, I would be stunned to learn how fast that river could just come up and envelop everything. About a decade ago, says the Post, Kerrville leaders began working on a flood warning system after a river rose to about 45 feet and nearly swallowed the nearby Texas town of Wimberley over Memorial Day weekend in 2015, said Tom Moser, a Kerr County commissioner at the time. County officials assessed an upgrade to a warning system that would have included sirens, but some balked at the cost, with one commissioner calling it a little extravagant for Kerr County with sirens and such. The next year, they submitted a grant request for $980,000 to FEMA for the initiatives, county documents show, but they didn't get the money, and most of the funds went to communities impacted by Hurricane Harvey. Now they're showing clouds, some rain? Oh, a helicopter. They're showing a helicopter flying overhead. Moser, the former county commissioner, said, despite attempts to fund a larger flood warning system project in the county budget, it never got across the goal line. The Post says, watching the death toll rise, Nicole Wilson wondered what might have happened if campers along the river had had the warnings, the kind of warnings she had growing up in tornado-prone Kentucky, loud blaring sirens. Yes, so I am traveling for a couple days, just a few days, so I am not in my normal studio. So the broadcast might look and sound different than it normally does. I'm in my mobile setup here. I'm using my mobile setup today. Hey, thanks to Martha Crawford for the Facebook stars, by the way. Thomas Darwin says, shame it takes a tragedy to get things done. Well, also look, with any kind of, I could say warning system, but just expenses in general, there's the positives and the negatives. And so cities and states and countries need to figure out, what do we spend our money on? We have lots of things we want to spend it on. What do we do? And the decision was made to not put a siren system there. One of our viewers said it looks so beautiful there. Two old people on a couch says Trump is visiting Friday, I think. That was a plan from, I think, a few days ago. I'm not sure it's still happening, but I know that was the plan. So I wanted to show a couple things. Because I was traveling yesterday, I didn't get to see the press conference when Governor Abbott and other authorities spoke and announced that all these people were missing. So I want to show that. Also, there was an update by Kerr County earlier today. I was thinking maybe I would show first the press conference from yesterday, which I have not seen yet. I know some of you have seen it, so I'm sorry. You don't have to watch it. But I was thinking I would show that now, so we could see that announcement, because I didn't get to show it yesterday. If that sounds okay. By the way, Doug Grinberg says, why didn't camps have National Weather Service weather radios for alerts? So I'm not sure, it's a good question about weather radios. Who had them? Who didn't? What would you have heard if you had had a weather radio? I believe the National Weather Service had already sent out around 1:15 a.m. some sort of flash flood warning. I have some, if you give me a second, I have a timeline that I can look up here, because I was looking at this yesterday. Yeah, AP says at 1:14 a.m. on July 4th, the National Weather Service issued a flash flood warning for central Kerr County until 4:15 a.m., warning that it was life-threatening. That was at 1:14 a.m. And between 3 and 5 a.m. is when floodwaters began to inundate Camp Mystic. Young campers, counselors, and staff were roused from sleep and began a desperate rush to higher ground, says AP, according to social media accounts. The accounts detail how some young girls had to climb through cabin windows. One staffer said she was on the roof with water rising toward her at 4 a.m. Give me one moment here. Some people mentioned a tornado. I just pulled up I just pulled up radar Omega, and I didn't see any tornado warnings. I just looked right now, and I didn't see any tornado warnings. Now I do see one. Now why wasn't I see one for Maryland? Now why wasn't that on? Now I'm really confused. Right here. Hold on. Tornado warning including Chilham, Maryland and Tacoma Park, Maryland until, and that includes some of DC, yes? Is what people were talking about? Until 7 p.m. Eastern time. But I pulled up radar Omega and there's no tornado warning on there. Why is there no tornado warning on there? Let's see. Is this going to work? So here's radar Omega. I mean, do I have it? No, I would think I have it set to show the tornado warning. I don't know why I wouldn't unless it sort of accidentally got turned off. That's a storm report. That's not a warning. Lightning detection. Here, warnings. Yeah, I have tornado warnings turned on. So now I'm confused. Here, I'll check on that for you. I should be able to just look on the radar at the place anyway. Let me just look it up. Here, look. Okay, right in. There's a severe thunderstorm warning there. Yeah, I mean, clearly, obviously, there's storms moving through the area. That's very clear. There's Washington, D.C., and there's on the left is the rain radar. I don't know why there is no tornado warning, unless the warning got canceled. I don't know. But I'm not seeing a tornado warning on radar Omega, even though one popped up on National Weather Service tornado. I'm going to check one other thing here. There's one other thing I can check. This will tell us watches and warnings. Well, I think I might have to do Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Well, this says Baltimore, Maryland, Washington, D.C., multiple hazards in effect. Severe thunderstorm, flash flood. Again, I can't tell. I don't know if there is one. Was it canceled? Billy thought it's canceled. I'm looking and I'm not seeing mention of it on the National Weather Service page, but I know they. Oh, here's a mattress. Hold on, look. Guys, look at this. There is a mattress around a tree. That's a mattress around the tree in Kerr County, Texas. Wow. Anyways, if you're in the DC area, please check with your local weather officials and your local government officials on what you should do. They will tell you. Look at how high up that mattress is. I think the tornado warning, by the way, as Will Weaver, our viewer, said, was supposed to expire at 7 p.m., which is in 3 minutes. But, again, I'm not sure it's still in effect. I just don't know. So don't rely on me for that, because I'm seeing different things. Let's look at I keep saying we're going to look at it, but it's time for us to look at it. Robert Kozinski says, how many yards on each side of the river got affected by this flooding? That's a great question. I don't know how many. I did see an interview last night, an interview with somebody who was 200 yards away, they said, and that they had to evacuate their house in a rush because the water was there. This is a live shot right now I'm showing you. What I'm going to show you is, we're going to look in a second at the press conference from yesterday when the new number of missing was announced. Because I haven't even watched that yet. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet. So let me pull it up here for you. All right, give me a moment. Let me get this going for you. What I need to do is do it this way. Okay, let's do this. So we're going to show you what happened yesterday when this new very large number of missing was announced. Hang on. I'm putting this on the screen for you right now. Right now. Okay, so here we go. Again, I haven't even seen this yet. Oh, you have. All right, now you can see it. So let's. I hope this all. I hope this all. The audio works and everything. I'll try to make adjustments if I have to. So we're now going to take a look at the press conference from yesterday, where the Texas authorities announce all these people are missing. Way more than we were told before. All right. Thank you, Billy Cusack, by the way. Billy had heard that the tornado warning was canceled for north central D.C. That's what Billy heard. Again, don't rely on me for this. Check with your local authorities. Thank you, Billy. And thank you, Danielle Turricini over there on YouTube. And Sobek 2012, who says, please remember that the relief workers also need supplies like rake, shovels, gloves, masks, socks, and wheelbarrows. He recommended a donation site. After the press conference, I'll mention a couple of those as well. All right, let's take a look at this. Hopefully this all plays right. Let's see. See if this works. Hang on, I think I need to forward a little bit. Sorry about that. I got to cue it up to the actual start of the press conference. My fault. All right, here it is. Hang on. So again, this is yesterday's press conference when that big number of missing was announced. And I have not even gotten to see this yet. You're hearing some static because they'll turn the mic on when people start speaking. One moment here. I queued it up to right before, so let's see. Here comes the governor.
Thank everybody for being here. I visited with some locals who live around here, including a family member of the owner of this store. I let her know that I first came to the store about 21 years ago. Been to this store every year for many years. I've seen these little campers since they were just a little bit bigger than toddlers, young kids. I've seen them grow and mature into beautiful young men and women. Nothing is as heart-wrenching as hearing the stories of girls around here, especially the girls that Camp Mystic went through. To see where they lived in one moment, where they disappeared the next moment, and were gone forever a few moments after that. I wanted these people to know, I want you all to know, the hearts of our fellow Texans are breaking every single day because of what people of this community and the surrounding area are going through. There's nothing more important on our hearts and minds than the people of this community, especially those who are still lost. I told them what we were doing, not just today, but what we are going to be doing for the days, weeks, and months to come. This is what they needed to hear. They need to know Texas is in this with the people in the Hill Country right here. We are not leaving until this job is finished. The job right now, the primary job right now, continues to be locating everybody who was affected by this flood. There still remain those who are missing. We have to find every single person who's missing. Number one, while we are doing that job, it's important that we also be conducting other business affecting this storm. We did several things in that regard today. One is to get a better assessment about what exactly needed to be provided for the community. We took a flyover to get that assessment. I've been here for multiple times over the course of the past 2 decades, but multiple times over the course of just this one flooding episode. And I have a good feel on the ground of what is needed. But when you're in the air, you get a fuller perspective of how widespread, how catastrophic the damage is, and what must be done to fully address it. We were able to process that better today when we flew around. And on that flight today, I had with me the speaker who's going to speak after myself. I want to provide you with some information, some of which is just now updated. First, the numbers that I have is that there are 94 fatalities. 94 fatalities associated with this flooding event in this area. Separate from that, in other events in other parts of the state of Texas, there's another 15 fatalities for a total of 109. To put this into perspective, just in the Kerr and Kendall counties alone, there are far more fatalities than there were in Hurricane Harvey. That's how catastrophic this is. I also have some updated numbers on those who are missing. First, from Camp Mystic. My information is those who are missing is down to now 5 campers and 1 counselor. Campers and 1 counselor missing. In addition to that, there is another child not associated with the camp who is missing. So for Kerr County, that would be a total of 7 who are missing. In other parts of the state, there are 12. I have a new number, however. So one thing we've been reaching out to the public about is to get better information about those who were not registered at a camp, those who were not registered at a hotel, those who may have been down here who no one really had any accounting. And through law enforcement agencies, they provided me this number.
Give me 1 second here. I know that the audio is cutting out a bit. That might be on the original feed. So give me 1 second here. Let me try one thing real quick, which might make things better. I'm sorry about that. How is this audio? Is this audio better? This audio might be better. Is it? I don't know. Well, let me test and see if this audio is any better.
7 who are missing.
That audio is only in one ear. So my guess is you'd prefer the 2-area audio. 2-ear audio. But the 2-ear audio is cutting out a bit. Let me try something real quick. Sorry about that. Oh, I know what I can do. I think I know what I can do. If you give me 1 second. Sorry. I'll do it. One moment. I think we'll be fine. Because I want to have this work for you. All right. I think this will actually address the issue. Sorry about that. Again, I'm not in my normal studio. I am traveling for a couple days. So things are a little different than they normally would be. Okay, I think we're good to go. I think we are good to go. So let's put this up on the screen for you right now. We want to take this off. And we're going to put this on. Okay, I think we're good.
Who are missing. In other...
All right, here we go. We're picking it up right around where we left off. This is yesterday's press conference, and he's about to announce the total number missing, that new number, which was shocking. Governor Abbott.
First, from Camp Mystic. My information is those who are missing is down to now 5 campers and 1 counselor. 5 campers and 1 counselor missing. In addition to that, there is another child not associated with the camp who is missing. So Kerr County, that would be a total of 7 who are missing. In other parts of the state, there are...
The problem is with the original footage, so I'm just going to keep playing it. I'll keep playing it for you. Sorry the sound cuts out a little bit.
Are 12 who are missing. I have a new number, however. So one thing we've been reaching out to the public about is to get better information about those who were not registered at a camp, those who were not registered at a hotel, those who may have been down here who no one really had any accounting of. And through law enforcement agency working together, they provided me this number. Just in the Kerr County area alone, there are 161 people who are known to be missing. And again, that comes from law enforcement efforts, 161 known people who are missing. Know this, we will not stop until every missing person is accounted for. Know this also, there very likely could be more added to that list. One way that we were able to expand those who are missing is because family members, friends, neighbors, etc. begin calling in and reporting them as missing. What I want to do is once again provide a reminder to anybody watching this. If you have a friend, a family member, somebody that you think may be missing because of this storm, we need you to call the number that I'm about to give you. It is 830-258-1111. That's 830-258-1111. If you want to go to a website address, you can go to kerrvillemissing@dps.texas.gov. Twice more. That's Kerrville, RRVILLE, no space, then the word missing, MISSING. So,
yeah, guys, as I said about 4 minutes ago, I'm aware that on this feed the audio keeps cutting out, and I apologize. It's a problem with the original feed. I can play you the other feed, but on the other feed, there's only audio in one ear. So there's 2 different feeds. One of them, the audio periodically cuts out. The other one, the audio is in one ear. So if you'd rather I switch it, I can switch it to the one in one ear. I can do either one. Let me know in the chat which one you'd prefer. But I can't fix it after the fact. I can't take my time machine back and fix audio that I didn't shoot. So let me know which one you'd prefer. But that's what we have. Those are the two. Those are the two choices. And this audio might get better. I don't know. I mean, for a bunch of it, it's been okay, and then once in a while, it just starts cutting out. So I think they had an audio issue. They had an audio issue when they were shooting this. So I can try it a little more and just see how it goes. Maybe it gets fixed, but if it doesn't, I can switch it over. So it's just, unfortunately, both of the feeds have flawed audio. So let me play this a little more, and if it gets too annoying, I'll switch it.
Kerrville missing at dps.gov. So either call that phone number, go to that website, add the name and the best identification you can, and the last known location of anybody that you think is missing. Know this also. If you make a prank call or provide false information, that's a crime. Do not provide false information because you're hindering our ability to undertake this investigation, hindering our ability to actually rescue and find those who truly are missing. So you better be correct when you're calling in and let us know that there is somebody. Importantly, we know families are going through grief that's beyond anyone's comprehension right now, beyond any of us being able to walk up to them and give them the magic words that will make them suddenly feel healed. We know that they need grief counselors. We have 5 organizations that together dozens of grief counselors for all of the affected family members around here. It's so important at times like this for family members to access that grief counseling so they can have their mental and emotional health needs addressed in what may be the most challenging time of their lives. Something else that's a help as we begin the process of places like the Hunt store, the local community, Hunt, Texas, be able to rebuild. One thing that is speeding that recovery was the immediate granting of the major master declaration that was granted by President Trump. It immediately not only access to more funding, but also access to more resources to be able to more quickly and more effectively respond to this storm. That includes debris removal, which has already begun. It includes assistance for individuals who are eligible to apply, and the Director of Texas Division of Emergency Management will explain more about that in a second. But there are 2 categories of people or entities available to assist. One are individuals affected by the storm. Another are public entities like the town of Hunt, like the town of Kerr, etc. They may have needs with regard to roads or utilities, whatever the case may be. Now the assistance is available for them to more effectively and more quickly address that. With regard to roads, anybody who's driven around here knows that there are some roads that need repairs. The Texas Department of Public Safety is working 24/7 to make sure they're going to be getting these roads repaired and passable as quickly as possible. Going back to President Trump, he and I spoke again this morning, and he could not stop talking about how sad he was for all the little girls who've lost their life. Did understanding of what happened with what was really a tsunami wave of wall of water that swept too many of them away. And he cares a lot about those young ladies. And he wants to step up and make sure that any need that we have here in Texas is going to be met very quickly. And he's already done that by helping to provide the quick assistance by sending down Secretary Kristi Noem, who, listen, I've been dealing with events like this for 10 years. Never have I seen someone respond as quickly and as effectively as what Home did. Also, while coming over here, I received this text from Secretary Kennedy. It says the following. It says, Governor Abbott, it's Secretary Robert. It says, we are set to declare a public health emergency for the Texas Hill Country flash floods. This will make it easier for healthcare and mental health providers from out of state to help both by traveling to the area and by telemedicine. Please, where we can be most helpful, which I will let him know. But I just wanted you to know about that new update. Now I would like to turn things over to the Speaker of the Texas House. Thank you, Governor. First,
what I can do is, so I was playing you. This is yesterday's press conference, and I can jump ahead to the Q&A, or I can let you hear about the other speakers. Again, the audio is a little funky, and then on the other feed, the audio is in one ear, so that's unfortunate. But so let me know. I think people would like to hear the Q&A from yesterday, but let me hear what the chat says. I can hear. There's one other. I think maybe we should jump ahead to the Q&A. Let me just try something. And is it the exact same part?
New update. Now I would like to turn things over to the Speaker of the Texas House, Dustin Burrows. New update. Now I would like to turn things over to the Speaker of the Texas House, Dustin Burrows. Thank you, Governor.
Yeah, it's all right. So let me switch over to the Q&A. Let's do that. Let's do that, and let's try the feed, the other feed, and see if that's any better, even though it's one ear. If not, there's a way. There's one other thing I can try. Actually, let's try this. Let's try this. And I'm going to try one other quick thing here. Let's see if I can try a little alternate here. Let's see here. Uh-oh. Okay, let's see if is there any chance. I just tried something. So let me just see if this works any better here. Why is that all acting all weird? That I don't know here. So hold on a second here. Let me just say, is there any chance that this will fix what I know it's a weird thing I just did. Let's see if this fixes the audio issue. So what I need to do is get that off and do this.
Thank you, Governor. First, to the members of the community
and to all those who've been impacted, the survivors, those who've lost loved ones.
So if you give me a second, now what I'm going to do is show you the Q&A. Let's look at the Q&A. That's what we got to do. We don't have to do all the speakers from yesterday, but I'm going to do the Q&A for you. So we just played that. Now we have to do this one. Okay, now we're going to watch the question and answer session from yesterday so you can see it. And hopefully the sound will work. I may have figured out a fix.
Next, well, that didn't work out. Next, we continue to work on our public assistance for our communities, working to get our roads repaired, our line. As our techs repair those roads.
Let's get to him. Here we go.
Thank you, Chief. Yesterday, I met with families at Camp Mystic. I made a commitment to them. Day before, I met with residents of Kerrville. Today, I met with residents of Hunt. I made a promise to all of them. Texas will not stop until we finish the job. We will not stop until we identify, recover every single body. We'll not stop until every road is rebuilt, every inch of debris is removed. We'll not stop because we are a state that cares about our people, cares about our communities, and we'll be with them every step of the way. We'll take a few questions.
Governor, Monday happened. Said that they didn't receive any emergency alerts on their phone. Are you going to have that conversation with the city manager? I asked him because earlier today in the conference, he really didn't respond to our questions related to how long it took him to evacuate people. Can you speak on that?
So obviously the local officials who were on the ground at the time would know the most about that now. A special session that will have at the top of its agenda helping communities.
Hold on. It was hard to hear the question. He was asked about, I think he was asked about people being evacuated and the notice they were given. Hold on. I got it. I got it right here. Here it is. I'll play it I'm putting it on for you right now.
We're going to address every aspect of this storm, but let's talk about it in this way. That's going to be one of the issues that we begin to address in less than 2 weeks in the state legislature. We're going to address every aspect of this storm to make sure that we're going to have in place the systems that are needed to prevent deadly flooding events like this in the future.
Governor,
when one thing happened, Governor, you led an investigation. Are you going to ask for an investigation in this case?
So we say when Harvey happened?
No, Uvalde.
Oh,
Uvalde happened.
Yeah.
And it was gross negligence back then. Now this happened, and the death toll is enormous. Are you going to ask for an investigation? Who is to blame here?
Right. So I'm going to talk about two different things. The first part of your question, and that is an investigation. We know a special session's coming in about 10 days. That's where, I would say, where it begins. Candidly, those investigations will begin by both the House and Senate before we go into session. So probably beginning later this week or the early part of next week, there'll be committees formed that are already kind of working on ideas about ways to address this. Second part of your question needs to be addressed. You ask, and I'm going to use your words, who's to blame? Know this. That's the word choice of losers. Let me explain one thing about Texas, and that is Texas, every square inch of our state, cares about football. You could be in Hunt, Texas, Huntsville, Texas, Houston, Texas, any size community, they care about football. High school, Friday night lights, college football, or pro. And know this. Every football team makes mistakes. The losing teams are the ones that try to point out who's to blame. The championship teams are the ones that say, don't worry about it, man, we got this. We're going to make sure that we go score again, that we're going to win this game. The way winners talk is not to point fingers. They talk about solutions. What Texas is all about is solutions. In fact, I want to read you something that I received last night that's worth emphasizing to put this in context. Tragedy has come. That part is done. What we do now, who we are now, that's what the story is still being written. Let it be one of grace, of grit, of fierce love in the face of grief. Let it be the kind of story that proves that the hill country may flood, but it does not fail. Say what you will about Texas, but when the rivers rise, so do we. Not with blame, not with bitterness, but with boots on the ground, arms around strangers, and hearts wide open. That's the Texas I know, and that's the America that I believe in. What this person wrote is what I know is true for all Texans, and what we will achieve every single day.
Governor, what kind of legislation do you hope to see come from this special session?
You know, part of the legislative process is policy is not made in a vacuum. We have ideas. I've served on 2 investigatory committees out of the House before I was Speaker, both Uvalde and Panhandle wildfires. There are things that we can talk about, but it is too early to commit to know the specifics until we actually talk to the members of the community and hear what they think. Talk to the experts in the field. Talk to the first responders. That's what legislative hearings are for. We are ready to get started. The legislators I talk to, the members of the House, and I know the Senate, are very interested in finding solutions to not accept that we can't do better. But we will have those hearings. We will synthesize what we get, and we will come up with legislation that I believe will make it to the governor's desk and make us a stronger, better, more resilient Texas.
Governor, what do you say to these families that say these solutions may be a little too late?
Well, so one thing that we're focused on is making sure that we deliver the right solutions. One thing the Speaker just said is worth emphasizing, and that is that for us to provide real solutions, we actually need to hear from the people who are the ones most affected. The ones most affected, they're dealing with the grievance of having lost a child or lost a business or otherwise have their lives turned upside down. They don't have the capability right now of providing that information. We'll talk to local leaders, importantly, not just here, but across the state. And we want to make sure that we address what happened here, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we are able to implement measures that are going to be able to prevent loss in other regions going forward. So we have our work cut out for us, but I know the members of the House and members of the Senate, I know we'll work and get some meaningful things done. So again, my focus isn't on trying to say, oh, you did wrong or you should have done better there. My job is to bring Texas and Texans together and make sure that we immediately start delivering on solutions. You talk about the heroic effort, and no one has seen the level of response as what Texas has provided over the past 4 days or so. And we continue to maintain that response here while also going to the state capitol and working on around-the-clock responses there to make sure that we do deliver real solutions for these people sitting right behind you. Sure. So what your question is about what local officials knew, you'd have to ask them. Now, what the state was aware of, the state was aware that there was a possible serious flooding event days in advance, and we pre-position assets and resources and personnel. And remember, the flood began on Friday morning. We originally positioned those assets, resources, and personnel on Wednesday. Then when greater clarity was discerned on Thursday, we moved them closer, added, and made sure that we had adequate supply going into Friday. So we were ready with the resources on the ground to be able to quickly respond. Some people say, well, we responded so fast. One reason we did respond fast is because we had assets here already. That said, we didn't know the magnitude of the storm. We knew that there was a flash flood warning. And if you heard a flash flood warning, no one would know that that would be a 30-foot high tsunami wall of water, I don't think. But all I can tell you is the information we had, the state had, and that we acted on, was information that catalyzed us to begin putting assets and resources in place 2 days before the event happened.
We have time for 2 more, folks.
She's going to follow up, sir. I'm local.
Yep.
My name's Brittany Jones. I'm born and raised here. You're not prepared. As a community, we come together and try to be prepared. With all due respect, I had no idea you were going to be here today. I was out with a team, about 180 of us, ex-Marines, ex-veterans, Navy SEALs, game wardens. I'm a 28-year-old from here. We were not left with resources. They're here. Don't get me wrong. How to figure out how they're here was left totally up to each person, unless you're on social media and have a way to get it to how these people still don't have internet. Where we're sitting right now, we're so grateful for sitting on our water. They don't have it. I went out today, last night. I spent about 7.5 hours doing an article on Facebook. I don't use social media. A couple days ago, there was a vineyard. No one was touching it. We've been told that it's cleared. I was like, look, I don't use social media. I'm going to pull this up. We're going to post a video. I helped out John in the vineyard. Within 10 minutes, we had 20 people and 8 skins. It was going crazy. That whole vineyard, over 100 acres, was taken care of for free. God bless all the people that showed up. We had people who are not certified probably condone and lead about 90% of the recovery that was taken. We are so grateful for everyone that has been sent. But we were strong, we came together, and all of a sudden, we got infiltrated with lizards, we got infiltrated with news crews, and we were told if we didn't have the certifications, we couldn't be here. My only certifications that I chased every summer almost.
But let's talk about it in this way. That's going to be one of the issues that we begin to address in less than 2 weeks in the state legislature. We're going to address every aspect of this storm to make sure that we're going to have in place the systems that are needed to prevent deadly flooding events like this in the future.
Governor, when one thing happened, Governor, you led an investigation. Are you going to ask for an investigation in this case?
So we say when Harvey happened?
No.
I'm sorry, I was muted. So what I was saying is, I apologize. The woman was asking her question. She's still asking the question. The video reset, so it sounded like he was answering her question, but he was not yet because I just had to fix that. So she's still asking her question, if it is a question, but it might just be a statement. So we'll see what happens.
They pretty much but we want to go back out. We're here. Some people travel by plane. Some people travel 8 hours. And as a whole, I can tell you something. Like, we love to help. We love to help. We want to help. But we also want to work alongside each other. We're very big. We're not wasted assets. We don't want people coming in, getting paid to knock down our buildings that we will knock down as a community. The people who've been waiting for construction for 100 years will do it for free. That's our blood. We provide it. We work with you, but we don't need people to get paid to do that.
Well, so if I could say this. Yeah.
I would like to my question.
Sure.
My question is, we're all very broken here. Well, what's keeping us strong is we are the backbone of this community. We appreciate everything you do. We're the backbone of this community. We just want to have justice, to have a control over the fact that it's like, y'all, you're in the middle of nowhere, there's no Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi, no resources, we don't have cell service, it's lacking, and we have no control, and part of our healing, part of our recovery is to stay strong and get that control. We really, really want it, we appreciate it.
Well, for yep. Well,
It could be me, it could be anyone.
I'm gonna connect you with someone. Yeah. So let.
Facilitate, speak for the people who isn't in politics, who is law enforcement, and just someone to say, hey, look, I'm going to represent these people, please, and we're going to work side by side. We're all trying to get these
Right.
bodies. We want this
And
together.
I got the person for you. I'm going to give you her name, her number, let you connect with her. But let me say this. You know, people talk about how strong Texas is. People talk about how strong Texas is. It's because of people like you. People who don't wait around for orders and instructions. Yeah, so like it, not just you, but like you. We saw the exact same response in Hurricane Harvey. People didn't wait for a boss to tell them what to do. There was no time clock to check in or check out. They said they're getting out their own canoe, their own kayak, and they're going to start helping neighbors before the sun rose up until after the sun set. But all I wanted to let you know is the spirit that lies within your heart, and use the word blood, in your bloodstream. You have in your blood what Texas is all about. And
So I think Allison Hargroves, our viewer, said that, what did Allison say? That he went over to her. What did it say, Allison? Did you say that like they hugged or something? Oh, there it is. Yeah, they're talking right there. They're talking right there. Allison said the feed keeps talking to her. Thank you, Allison. Crazy Yoda, our viewer, said she's a local, been through hell, let her talk and vent as much as she wants. I couldn't get her whole story because they didn't have a microphone on her. It sounds like she was helping to respond to the flooding, but I couldn't really tell what was being asked. So you can see the scene right there. Thanks, by the way, to Martin Gingrich and PZ Papazulu and Irish Sweetness. Thank you so much, Irish Sweetness, for the memberships and your support. I really appreciate it. Irish Sweetness. Also, Sparky Pilot and Jude. Thank you, Jude. And Cindy Lou. And Crazy Yoda. Now they're taking some pictures. This was yesterday. But it's an interesting moment, so I'm letting it play. Okay, I think that was, you're just about to say that was. All right, so that was yesterday's press conference. Governor Abbott, well, first of all, announcing that over 160 people were missing. It's over 170 at this moment, and also saying that they will investigate what happened. But he did not want to start blaming people. That's all the footage I have. I don't have longer footage than that. I don't think I do. Well, maybe is there some from yesterday? I don't know that. I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine cutting it there. Yeah, that's all I have for that. So we are bringing you some live coverage. I am not in my normal studio today. I am traveling for a few days, just a few days. So I'm in my mobile studio. By the way, it turned out the video of that press conference, I was able to fix it. But I don't want to, I thought that there was an issue with the sound on the video. There was another technical issue. So I don't want to blame the video. There was another technical issue that was causing the sound to cut out. So I was able to fix that, fortunately. So we are bringing you live coverage and update. Terrible, over 170 missing and 119 dead from this flooding last weekend. And I wanted to show you, where is it here? This is a live shot. Oops, that's not Governor Abbott. This is a live shot we were looking at before. And hold on a moment here. Let me switch something up here. I need to do, wait a second. Here we go. So we'll take some comments. This is a live shot right here from the Guadalupe River live in Kerr County. Yeah, the 119 dead, I've seen a couple of reports like the Reuters report today that say that. So, I mean, you might see different reports saying different things. I'm sure it's going to change. Sadly, I'm guessing it'll go up. We are bringing you some live updates here. And we're going to take in some comments from you guys. And we've actually seen in this shot, there's actually a mattress up there wrapped around a tree, which periodically it zooms in. By the way, thanks to Sandy Zapp for the Facebook stars. I really appreciate it, Sandy. And let me shout out our mods for a second. Thank you to, over there on Twitch, Big Ball of Yarn, LB Prairie Dawn, Matthew Kohai 3, McBritches, and Sarah, thank you. Also, speaking of Twitch, thanks to Tim530, RJ03820, CC143 for your support. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha over on X, thanks so much for modding over there. And all our moderators, hang on. Janet B. moderating over on YouTube, and Ruth Krafasi, thank you so much. Thanks, Matthew Felty, for your support as well. Uh-oh. Why is that happening? I should post in the chat. If you're watching, if you have, Yeah, I just saw there was a little freeze on the YouTube. Has that been happening? Again, I'm not in my normal studio, so if you have freezing on YouTube chat, hit refresh. Again, I'm not in my normal studio, so things can happen. Things can happen here, so I apologize. But also, thank you to PZ Papa Zulu. PZ Papa Zulu said, I watched an interview with an RV park owner who said that they had 28 RVs in her park and all 28 were gone due to the flooding. I've heard a couple stories like that. That I think Ruth Kafasi and Janet GB are moderating on YouTube, by the way. Thank you. I wanted to read you a quote. Also, speaking of Twitch, thanks to Tim530. I was going to read you a quote from someone who had a similar story. By the way, thanks to Paul Anderson for modding, Christina Neal, Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body. Thank you so much for modding. And hang on a moment here. What I was going to do is, I had something to relay to you. The Wall Street Journal interviewed a RV, was it an RV campground owner? Yeah, the Wall Street Journal had an article recently where they talked to the owner of the Blue Oak RV Park and Howdy's Restaurant, which I guess is on the bank of the Guadalupe River. And she said that she went to bed that night, and then she woke up and the water was... She went to bed, and then an hour later she woke up and the water was already 10 feet up. And then she went to the different RVs, tried to knock on RV doors to wake people. And it said in the article, all 33 RVs were washed away. And she also said that there were cars floating past her with people inside yelling for help. And you could hear people banging against the window and honking. So again, this is the owner, the Wall Street Journal interviewed, of a local RV park. And she said that all 33 RVs were washed away. Oops, sorry. I know the red thing is wrong up here. And that's a different RV park than this one, I think, HTR campground, which had some RVs there, I believe, where some people are missing from. So, yeah, and again, it's just a crazy that image of her just seeing all of those cars going by and people yelling. It's really awful. Hang on a moment here. Yeah, some different outlets have run interviews with her. There's a number of articles I see where people talk to her. Yeah, she talked to NBC News as well. Again, she owns the Blue Oaks RV Park. And she said that she checked at 2:30 a.m. She checked the river and the waters looked fine. And she called the sheriff's department at 2:30 a.m. and they didn't have any information at that point. And then at 3:30, by 3:30, I think she woke up at 3:30, according to the other article, and she saw rescue lights, and one of the residents had heard people screaming. And then she went back to the campsite and saw dozens of RVs being swept away. But now she did say, though, this is interesting. The other article didn't say that. She actually, in the NBC News article, it says they were largely successful in evacuating the RVs. So it sounds like at her RV park, again, the other article didn't specify this. This interview says that they saw RVs dozens being swept away, but they were able to help evacuate most of them. They were unable to rescue a family of 5, she said. So it's good. I hadn't heard that detail of the story. So again, they went down, they saw these RVs at their RV park, her and her husband being swept away, and they were evacuating people from the RVs as they were getting swept away. But she also saw cars going by. So, I mean, and you know, our viewer, PZ Papa Zulu, had read an interview, I think with somebody at a different RV park, and, you know, yes, so that was, it's the same woman who in the other publication said that all 33 RVs were swept away. But in this interview, she said that they got most of the people out of the RVs. You know, Brian Pelletier says he has a friend who lives in the area saying there were homeless people and people there in the country illegally and living under bridges and on the side of the river who the friend does not see anymore. So it is an interesting and a sad point that there could be other people we have not heard of yet. Let's say there was a homeless person living next to the river. Somebody might not report that person missing, and maybe they're gone, and maybe they died. And Governor Abbott said yesterday that there might be more people who they just haven't heard about missing. Give me one moment here. Oh, there was a short video I wanted to play for you. You can see here, Texas officials deflect mounting questions about response to deadly flood. It's from Reuters. They have a video in the article, but I just want to mention some of this, and then I'll show you the video. Officials in flood-stricken Texas on Wednesday, today, again deflected mounting questions about whether they could have done more to warn people ahead of devastating flash flooding that killed at least 119 people on July 4th. I think there was some flooding that killed people on July 5th, I believe. At a morning news briefing in Kerr County, where the vast majority of victims died. Actually, real quick, let me just show you this. The camera's moving around. That's a camera. It's a live shot right there from Kerr County. That's a live shot. And it's a shot of, you can see debris there from the flooding. That's next to the Guadalupe River. I just want to take a second and show you that. Anyways, the article says this morning, Sheriff Larry Letha of Kerr County defended the actions of emergency responders as the tragedy unfolded. Pressed about how long it took for officials to respond to code red alerts about the flash flooding, Sheriff Letha declined to respond directly, saying his focus was on finding missing people and that a full analysis of what, if anything, went wrong would come later. Searchers have not found anyone alive since Friday. Since Friday. Reuters says the state emergency management agency warned last Thursday on the eve of the disaster that parts of central Texas faced a threat of flash floods based on National Weather Service forecasts. But twice as much rain as forecast ended up falling over two branches of the Guadalupe just upstream of the fork where they converge, sending all of that water racing into the single channel where it slices through Kerrville, the city manager Dalton Rice has said. The city manager said the amount of rainfall in such a short time made it impossible to order evacuations without further endangering people. He also noted that the county is sprawling and rural with spotty cell phone service, creating communication challenges. The Houston Chronicle reported that county officials had considered installing an early warning system about 8 years ago, but abandoned the proposal after failing to secure state grant money to fund it. Kerr County sits at the center of a section of Texas Hill Country that is particularly susceptible to flash floods. Also yesterday, 3 people died in New Mexico. 2 of them young children when a flash flood swept through the village of Ruidoso in southeast of Albuquerque, 135 miles southeast of Albuquerque. That flooding was sparked by heavy rain that fell on wildfire burn scars, causing a rapid runoff of water that saw the Rio Ruidoso River rise to a record 20 feet, 5 feet higher than its previous historical high. Roger Shoemaker, our viewer, says this Friday will be a week from the tragedy. Big Judd thinks there will be $1 million homes there in a year. Chris Lee says the building is the building where there was a camera over there several days ago we were showing, but the camera was on the ground over there. Susan Parslow Lounsbury, our viewer, says this just feels so personal, maybe because we see photos of some of the victims makes it more heartbreaking. I'm guessing some of you have seen this. There is a photo floating around of one of the cabins at the camp where I believe all of the girls inside and I believe everybody in the photo passed away. I think it's like 2 counselors and 13 campers, and there's a photo of them from the camp. It's really terrible. It's not them, it's them, smiling. It's them at the camp, not during the flooding. Tim D. Lawson from Australia says that, gosh, that toll is so high, just absolutely awful. Susan A.U., it says. Over 170 missing. Let me show you. So I was mentioning there's a video that goes along with the article I was just showing you. This house, some of you think that it was not supposed to be there. And it does have search writing on it. All right, I'm going to show you a video here. If you give me 2 seconds. This is from the article I was just reading. Has some footage of flooding in it. Let me throw this on the screen for you. Hold on. It is, let's see, right here? Okay, there it is. Let's play this for you.
The death toll from devastating July 4th floods in Texas rose to more than 100 people on Tuesday, many of them children. Governor Greg Abbott said authorities were also still seeking more than 180 people whose fate remained unknown.
Know this: we will not stop until every missing person is accounted for.
The bulk of fatalities and the search for additional victims were concentrated in Kerr County and the county seat of Kerrville. The town of 25,000 residents transformed into a disaster zone when torrential rain struck the region last Friday in the early morning. More than a foot of rain fell in less than an hour, twice as much as had been forecast, flooding the Guadalupe River basin. Those who died in Kerr County include 27 campers and counselors from Camp Mystic, a nearly century-old Christian girls' camp on the banks of the Guadalupe. The camp director also perished. Abbott said on Tuesday that 5 girls and a camp counselor were still unaccounted for, as well as another child not associated with the camp. In addition to deaths reported in Kerr County, Abbott said more than a dozen other flood-related fatalities had been confirmed across a swath of Texas hill country known as Flash Flood Alley. Authorities worry the death toll could climb as floodwaters recede and the search gains momentum. Public officials have faced days of questions about whether they could have alerted people in flood-prone areas sooner. On Tuesday, Kerr County Sheriff Larry Letha rebuffed questions about the county's emergency operations and preparedness. He would not say who was ultimately in charge of monitoring weather alerts and issuing flood warnings or evacuation orders. Abbott said a special session of the Texas legislature would convene later this month to investigate the emergency response and provide funding for disaster relief. The death toll from devastating July 4th.
Oops. All right. So that was a little summary, and in a little bit we'll look at the update from today that was done. There's an update from today. That we haven't looked at yet. Where is... So we looked at that. There was something else. Oh, hold on a second. Let me show you this. There's a damaged house from the flooding, or a damaged roof from the flooding that they show, period. It looks like a roof that's damaged, hanging over the house. That's a live shot from Kerr County right now. Hang on a second here. Why is this not working? One moment here. There is a truck. We saw that earlier, sitting out there. Oh, I see. AP says, harrowing stories of rescue emerged from Texas floods as crews search for over 160 reported missing. AP says in the frantic hours after a wall of water engulfed camps and homes in Texas, a police officer who was trapped himself spotted dozens of people stranded on roofs and waded out to bring them to safety, a fellow officer said today. Another off-duty officer tied a garden hose around his waist so he could reach two people clinging to a tree above swirling floodwaters. The floods are now the deadliest inland flooding in the U.S. Since 1976, when Colorado's Big Thompson Canyon flooded, killing 144 people. But it's going to be more than that, it looks like. Public officials in the area have come under repeated criticism amid questions about about the timeline of what happened and why widespread warnings were not sounded and more preparations were not made. Yes, President Trump is supposed to come on Friday. Some of you were talking about this earlier. President Trump is supposed to visit the scene on Friday. Also, some of you had talked about this. Oops, not that. This right here. Flash flooding that killed 3 leaves New Mexico village heartbroken, anxious as cleanup begins. The New Mexico mountain community of Ruidoso. 3 people died and dozens of homes were damaged. An intense bout of monsoon rain set the disaster in motion Tuesday. Water rushed from the surrounding mountainside, overwhelming the Rio Ruidoso and taking with it a man and 2 children from an RV park along the river. The children had been camping with their parents when they were swept away. Terrible. I believe 3 people are reported killed. Yeah, 3 dead. A popular summer retreat, Ruidoso is no stranger to tragedy. It has spent a year rebuilding following destructive wildfires last summer and the flooding that followed them. Thursday's rainfall was more than could be absorbed by hillsides and canyons within the burn scar. And by the way, it says here in the article by AP, at the Riverside RV Park, the owner and her guests scrambled up a nearby slope when the river started coursing through the site yesterday. It was the 6th time the river rose in the last several weeks and by far the worst. And that flooding yesterday, the river Ruidoso set a record by nearly 5 feet of height. But that was from 3.5. Mayor Crawford of Ruidoso said we received 3.5 inches of rain on the South Fork burn scar in about a 90-minute period. So it's not like they got a foot of rain. A little as a quarter of an inch of rain over a burn scar can cause flooding. In a couple minutes, we'll show you the today's update in Kerr County about the flooding. We haven't even watched that yet. Ron Lolordo says Ruidoso is a big resort area for Texans. That's what Ron said. Let me actually show you where that is. If I can pull it up here. Thanks for bearing with me. I am away for a few days, just for a few days, so I am on my mobile setup today. We got the mobile setup going. So things look and sound a little different, but at least it lets me cover the news for you. Oopsie. Ruidoso, New Mexico. That's what we want. Ruidoso, New Mexico. It's trying to show you where it is. There's Ruidoso, New Mexico. Southern New Mexico. By the way, a quick thank you to, wow, Jean-Paul Lachance, that's so nice of you. Jean gave more memberships. Lisa Setchler gave a membership too. Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate that. Jean-Paul, that's really nice of you. Jean-Paul the other night gave, I'm not kidding you, I think about 400 memberships the other night. And Jean-Paul just gave 50 more people memberships. Wow, that is really nice of you, Jean-Paul. Thanks so much for your support of the channel. Please make sure you thank Jean-Paul or Lisa or somebody else if they give you a membership or a gift subscription. That's so nice of Jean-Paul and so nice of everybody else. Thank you. Wow. Look at all the new memberships. Travis McNevin says Ruidoso has a lot of history. I don't know if that number of missing is going to keep going up. I mean, I'd like to think at this point that people, if somebody's been reported missing, if somebody's missing, that somebody's reported them missing at this point. I mean, I hope it doesn't go up much more. It's just so terrible. If you add up those two numbers, you're talking about like close to 300 people. Thanks, Jean-Paul. I very much appreciate it. It's really nice of you. And hold on a second here. I'm just checking a couple things here. Ooh, what is this? Oh, that's pretty short. Should we look at, oh, look at this. See, these individual stories, it's even worse when you hear about the individual stories of people. This is one, I just saw this from Washington Post. His son called as Texas flood waters rose. Now he's searching for closure. And the person they talk about in this article is Adon Hartfield. And this photo was taken by Thad Hartfield. Can I get this on the screen for you? Hold on. I'll get it on the screen for you. Give me 2 seconds here. I have to just, how do I have this set up here to do this? Okay. It's kind of hard to see. Hold on. That is Adon Hartfield. And that's who the article talks about. And the photo is by Thad Hartfield. He's 22. And what the article says is 22-year-old Adon Hartfield called his father early on the 4th of July, saying, "Oh, he's one of the 4 friends." The 22-year-old called his father early on the 4th of July, saying he, his girlfriend, and 2 friends awoke in the black of night to 4 inches of water pooled on the floor of his family cabin. A minute later, his dad recalled his son saying the water was up to 4 feet. They went outside seeking higher ground, but a tree soon slammed into the house, swiping the structure off its slab and leaving them without anything to hold on to. The phone went dead. Aiden and the others were missing. I've heard about the 4 friends who were staying in a house, all around 22 years old. Wow, just terrible. He is one of the more than 170 people still missing days after the devastating flood. And the article talks about them searching, people searching for him. But I mean, that's just, there's an example of just people like with basically no chance. Mount Florida says 5 days since anyone was found alive. Yeah, the last time, I believe it was said in the press conference yesterday that the last time anybody was found alive was Friday. I don't have live footage of the search. I mean, I couldn't really show it anyway because they might find somebody. You know, I couldn't show that live. Hang on one moment. When does it change from search and rescue? Well, look, I think, I don't know if it's officially been announced as recovery. I think it's a sensitive thing to announce it. But practically speaking, I mean, one of the officials said a day or two after that the chances go way down the longer you haven't found somebody. So I don't know how much of a practical difference it would be right now. Maybe there's a huge difference. I don't know at this point if it's going to make a huge difference in how they're searching, because they want to find people now whether they're alive or not. I mean, obviously you prefer if they're alive, but I don't know when it'll be announced. I don't think it's been announced yet. Oh, hold on a second here. I was going to mention a little of this article too. The Washington Post had an article, Camp Mystic had a disaster plan before the flood, but questions linger. This is from today. Texas state officials inspected Camp Mystic and certified it did have a disaster plan. And they certified this 2 days before the flood swept through, killing at least 27 campers and counselors. An inspector visited the camp on July 2nd, a state inspector. Now, just to be clear, they might have not been required to have a plan, for this kind of level of flooding. I don't know. This is not to blame the state or anything, right? So I just pointing out that this happened. But the records note that Camp Mystic met state requirements to have a written set of procedures to follow in case of disaster, posted in camp offices, and to make all camp and staff volunteers aware of the plan. But the documents do not provide any information on the contents of the plan, on what type of training staff and volunteers might have been given to ensure the safety of the campers and residents when the floods hit. Major questions remain about how the tragedy unfolded at the nearly century-old camp, particularly in the cabins close to the river that housed most of the girls and staff who died. They include not only whether the disaster plan was sufficient and staff had adequate preparation, but whether camp staff were aware of the flood risk from forecasted storms heading into the July 4th weekend. The Washington Post says the camp is one of several summer camps located along that Guadalupe River. Many of them sit near or within areas designated by FEMA as high-risk flood zones. Camp Mystic leaders and county officials have said the severity of the rainfall and how quickly water levels rose caught them off guard. The son of the director of Camp Mystic, who died trying to save campers, the son said, "We have never had water this high ever." Officials have faced scrutiny over whether Camp Mystic and others in at-risk zones were given adequate warning of the flood risk. The National Weather Service had first issued a flood watch for a wide swath of the hill country on Thursday afternoon. It had said rainfall up to 7 inches was possible, around half of what ended up falling around Camp Mystic. This is really sad. Early Friday, many campers were jolted awake to the sound of thunder or woke up as rain beat down on their cabins and water started rushing in. The flood water rose high and fast, forcing some of the counselors to toss younger girls through their cabins' doors and windows that they'd broken open. Let me read that again. The floodwater rose high and fast, forcing some of the counselors to toss younger girls through their cabins' doors and windows they'd broken open. They guided younger campers to higher ground on Senior Hill, an area where the older campers live. In the flats, the lower end of the camp, holding the Bubble Inn and Twins cabins where the youngest girls sleep, floodwaters soon surrounded them from two directions, rising from both the Guadalupe River and a nearby creek. It was in those lower cabins where most of the girls who are confirmed to die, who have died, were staying. Eastland, the camp director, was later found by his car along with 3 girls he had tried to save. Terrible. Look at this. Rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin was greeted by campers shivering, drenched, and covered in mud, he told the Washington Post. He tried to console the children as rescuers bundled them into helicopters for evacuation. You're just carrying kids that don't have shoes on. They're covered in mud and you're trying to get them out of there, he said. Wow. So, yeah, it's really terrible. When you hear these descriptions of the camp and descriptions of other people, what they went through, it's just terrifying and terrible. And it's people who just, they had no idea. And then a lot of them are just woken up by this water pouring in or already in their cabin. It's really terrible. In a moment, our viewer Megatron says, brave counselors. Our viewer CC says, terrifying. In a moment, we're going to show you the update from today because we haven't watched that yet. I haven't watched that yet. I do want to say a thank you to... by the way, Jean-Paul Lachance gave more memberships. He gave 50 more memberships. Wow. Jean-Paul, that's so nice of you. Thank you. Thanks for people for thanking Jean-Paul. That's really kind of you, Jean-Paul. Thank you. Also, thanks to Ed Weeby for the membership. And Ed Weeby for the memberships. And Dennis Kennedy. And... I appreciate that. Also, Bad Toastery for subscribing on Twitch. CC on Twitch. Thank you. And one of our viewers said that they thought that the camp would not reopen at this location. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know. I haven't heard it. Our viewer, the Sugaro, says nothing can prepare you for 20 to 30 feet. That would flood my river and entire city. Mr. Bigley Incredible says there's no way they open there after. It sounds like common sense. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's like that camp has a long tradition. I don't even know if it would be practical. I mean, I think they have multiple locations, but if they want to keep, you know, maybe if they can't find an alternate location, maybe there's no practical alternate location. I don't know, you know. But maybe they, you know, they open with some kind of, you know, I don't know, memorial or something. I mean, I know the thought of it might seem crazy now, but it also has it has a lot of, there's a lot of people who love the camp who went there over the years and support the camp. So, I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. It's just so awful. It's really awful. I mean, when you really think about, when you hear these descriptions of what happened, and it's like these little girls and they had no idea. It's just, you know, I mean, it's bad enough when you hear, it's terrible when you hear about what happened to adults. We were just reading you about what happened to a house full of 22-year-olds. Uh, 3R1N thinks lots of wealthy and political figures have ties to the camp. They will reopen for certain. Thank you, Susan Cooper, for watching. All right, let's, what I want to do is I want to look at, I haven't even gotten to look at it yet. I want to look at the update that was given today by the way, Brian, our viewer Brian Burt says, can the cabins be moved to higher ground? Michelle McGranahan, is it? Said it will definitely be a thorn in the side of the place. Seems like a wonderful of the camp. Sadly, seems like a wonderful place. I want to look at the update from today, the live press conference from today. It's not live right now, but I want to look at it. By the way, thank you to our subscribers on Twitch, like CC and Underjolt and Gina Pina, Ree the Kiwi. I really appreciate you subscribing and supporting the channel. Jazzy Renee, Hefty Tartar, Bad Toastery, Aloso 1375, Ma Florida, The Sugaro, Beautiful Profanity, Moomed 2, Shells 80, and all of our, my crystal clear life, and Wall Street and Shaggy, and all of our other subscribers on Twitch. And I wanted to shout out also our Facebook subscribers, such as Christy Claft. Thank you for subscribing over there. Bruce Hodge. Thanks Billy Joe Drage for the stars. Thanks Teresa Gassler for the stars, by the way. Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body, thank you for being subscribers, and all of our other subscribers over there on Facebook, thank you. All right, I'm going to pull up right now. I'm going to pull up the today's update. Let's watch today's update from the county. Hang on. I'm pulling it up for you right now. Oh wait, that was not the right one. I need today's update, not yesterday's update. We need today's. There's actually a prayer service ongoing to honor the victims of the July 4th flash floods in Kerrville, Texas. I'll let you look at that for a minute. This is a live prayer service. I'm going to show you this.
Woke him up in their anxiety and in their fear and in their turmoil happens next, probably in their hurt, probably in a little bit of pain. Jesus.
Something is playing that shouldn't be playing. What is playing? Something is playing. I'm hearing weird audio. It might have been from that, but I think we were hearing double audio. All right, give me one moment. We'll figure this out. Let's figure this out. Why was I hearing two of things?
In that moment, the peace
this is the live
only
audio.
Come in proximity to Jesus. And friends, there were other boats on the water. They may not have heard the voice of God in that moment saying, "Quiet, be still." They may not have been close enough to realize what had just happened in that moment. but whether they knew him or not, whether they were in proximity to him or not, whether they felt like they had a place in his boat or not, they experience in that moment the peace of Christ that transcends all understanding. If tonight, a space like this and a gathering might be the words of Jesus, as we've worked hard, Jesus, as we've worked hard, and as we've been shoulder to shoulder, and as many of us are exhausted from volunteering and doing what we can and feeding people and offering our bodies and offering ourselves and all of the things that we've done over the last week as a community. I wonder if a night like tonight is Jesus simply saying, quiet, be still. And for a few moments, experience the peace and the calm that can only come in proximity to Jesus. And so the disciples began to ask one.
So I was just showing you some of that. That's a prayer service that's going on. We have video via Reuters from in Kerrville, Texas, to honor victims of the flooding. Now, what I was going to show you here is I am going to now show you the update from today from Kerr County, which I have not even seen yet. And we're going to look at that right now. But what I need to do is, oopsie, that there, put this, get rid of that, get rid of that, put that there. I'm missing one video. Okay, this is going to be today's update from Kerr County earlier today. Oopsie. Try this again. See if this works. All right, this is earlier today. Here we go.
Morning update for...
Hold on. You can't see the video. You can't see the video. Wait. Hang on. One moment. Now you can see the video. Here is the update from today. But what I need to do is do this. Here we go.
Okay, here's our morning update for July 8th. Search efforts continue throughout Kerr County. As of 8 a.m. this morning Central Time, there are 95 deceased. I'm going to kind of break down the numbers for you.
So just to be clear, he said July 8th, but I believe this is the one from today. Let me just double check, but I really think this is the one from today. Because it is July 9th today. But I think he might have meant the information about July 8th. Let me double check here. Let me double check. Here is... Yes, this is from today. So I know he says July 8th, but I think he's talking about, this is from today. So I think this is today. A fun guy says it's today. So again, I think maybe he's talking about the either he misspoke or he's talking about the information from the past day. But again, I just double checked, and this is today's.
A.m. this morning Central Time, there are 95 deceased. I'm going to kind of break down the numbers for you. On adults, there's 59, unidentified 14. Children, 36, unidentified 13. Camp Mystic currently still has missing 5 campers and 1 counselor. Officials report there are 161 missing people in Kerr County area. Community members are asked not to conduct debris management of their property until directed by law enforcement. There is also a no burn ban in Kerr County at this time till further notice. Let me give you a visual. I know probably all of y'all have been in our community capturing the aftermath of this disaster. But with that said, also take note that Kerr County is 1,100 square miles of beautiful but complex hill country. There are rural areas that may experience extended response times, areas where cell service is spotty, where the area is single-lane bridges and low water crossings. Sometimes evacuations is not the safest. Sometimes it's better to shelter in place. The hill country is not a one-size-fits-all place. First responders from emergency services throughout Kerr County promptly responded to the recent emergency as the situation unfolded. As with other significant events that are emergencies services encounter, this incident will be reviewed. You have my word. When or if necessary, if improvements need to be made, improvements will be made. What I'd like to do right now is kind of give you a breakdown. You know, I believe the latest report I had, we have 2,100 people out here at some capacity on this incident. As far as Kerr County Sheriff's Office right now, what our office is currently doing, it's an all hands on deck. Everybody we got are out here, but also we have additional 2,000 plus people helping us. But as far as our patrol division, you know, right now they're involved in answering calls. Y'all have to remember, we still got day-to-day calls we have to handle. But they're also involved in different kinds of rescue and recovery efforts. My CID division, Criminal Investigation Division, is assisting with operations at the funeral home process. My SOD division, Special Operations Division, is searching through heavy debris with heavy equipment. They're distributing assets for the Texas Game Wardens. They are also involved in recovery operations. Also, they're working with DPS special agents on all recovery processes, and with the volunteer fire departments. Our communications is overseeing the communication operation liaison with DPS also. Our emergency management, Doug Thomas, is in the EOC Center. Also with my chief, they're both in the EOC Center. At this time, I brought a couple of the guys. I was going to let Captain Jason Waldrop say a few words. Jason has been in the field, hands on deck this whole time. I hadn't been able to get out of here a lot. There's a lot to manage here. He's actually witnessed several things. He's kind of going to give you a few ideas and updates on what's going on in the field, where he's been and what he's been seeing. And then we'll turn it over to Sergeant Jack Lamb. Captain Jason Waldrop.
Nope. Go ahead. So the sheriff just wanted me to kind of give you all an update on some of the things that we as the sheriff department can do. One particular thing that we have done in order to help assist in locating the missing is we have coordinated a team with a local construction company, the Texas Department of Public Safety, some fire departments from within Kerr County, a fire department from Acuña, Mexico, and we are looking and searching the deeply impacted flood debris along the river. So these areas are where a lot of this debris is bottlenecked. So it's a lot of large trees, it's a lot of the vehicles, it's a lot of home structures have built up in these areas. So we are using very heavy equipment, excavators, skid loaders, to remove this material and do a deep impact search of where this is. So what we ask is, for those who are out there working, the local residents, the families of the missing, even some of the search teams. If you see these very large excavators working, please avoid these areas. We are trying to control these work sites. We have spotters on the ground. So as this material is being removed, we are looking for anything of a sign of a person that may be within this material. These operators have very limited vision with these large excavators, so please avoid these areas that they're working. We're still spotting areas up and down the river where we can take apart these materials and hopefully locate some more of the missing. So that's one main thing that we've been doing along the river to help this process.
Thank you, Captain. Morning. Jonathan Lamb, Kerrville Police Department. We want to remind folks that if you've reported a loved one missing and they've returned home safely or been found safely, it's vitally important that you let us know that that person is no longer among the missing. We need to keep an accurate count, as accurate as possible. So if you've reported somebody missing and they've been recovered safely, please let us know. Go to the website kerrvillemissing.dps.texas.gov or call 830-258-1111. And once again, kerrvillemissing.dps.texas.gov, 830-258-1111. We are actively working to ensure that we have an accurate count so that we know who to look for. And now I want to talk to the people here in this community, inside the city limits of Kerrville, people in Kerr County. A few things. We know that folks are beginning to clean up. And we have large debris piles. And we ask them not to use heavy equipment to take down those debris piles until they've been checked by a search party, because it's possible there are victims in that debris pile, and we don't want to disturb that. Please give us a call, our non-emergency numbers at the police department and the sheriff's department, and let us know that you've got a debris pile that needs to be checked before you begin that level of cleanup. Sheriff Letha mentioned the burn ban. That's countywide. We need people to respect that. Do not burn during this time. And we continue to ask people to steer clear of the area and let our first responders work. Again, this operation is ongoing and continuous. Our first responders are trying to get to places to do their jobs. And people come in here from outside the community and people within the community who want to go sightsee and look at the river and see the flood damage. It's making our job very hard. We ask folks to give us room to work. I want to talk a little bit about the events that happened on the morning of July 4th, what the Kerrville Police Department and other first responders were doing in those early morning hours. And I want to start outside of Kerrville, out in Hunt. Now, for those of you who went out there yesterday with the governor, y'all know that Highway 39 crisscrosses the Guadalupe again and again and again. And all of those low water crossings, when they flood, they create islands where you can't get in and you can't get out.
Hang on one moment. I'll fix that. Give me 1 second. The press conference where we're replaying the morning update, and I'm going to get you the next part right now. Here it is.
People in their homes, trapping people in vehicles. And that's what happened on the morning of July 4th. One of our patrol sergeants lives out there in Hunt, and he got up, he got ready to go to work, and he realized when he hit the intersection of FM 1340 and Highway 39 that he was trapped on an island that was Hunt, Texas. And he saw people, dozens of people trapped on roofs. He saw people trapped in swift moving water. He gave them encouragement over his public address system in his vehicle. He told them to be strong, that he would get to them as quickly as he could, and to hang on. And he knew he needed help. He went to another detective, Kerrville Police Department detective who lives out there, and he woke him up and he said, "It's bad. I need you to get your gear on and come find me." And then he went back out. And for 13 hours, those two officers, along with some Hunt volunteer fire department firefighters and an emergency room doctor, provided care to that Hunt community. When it was safe to do so, they waded into the water and they rescued people. They got people down off of roofs. They collected them there at the Hunt School. There was a young boy with a pretty severe leg injury that was given first aid treatment throughout the day. Other people came. Many of them were injured. They provided first aid. They coordinated helicopter evacuations for the most critically injured. Communicated the situation back to our emergency dispatch center at the Kerrville Police Department. When the waters began to recede, they knew that vehicles would be making way. So they went back and forth clearing out debris to clear a path for those vehicles. They saw back and forth making recoveries upriver, evacuating those summer camps. And they were by themselves on that island that was Hunt, Texas, doing what they do, serving, protecting, and helping, until about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when other emergency workers and high-profile vehicles were able to get out there. And here in town, in the early morning hours, it's still dark. Our officers realized that areas of town that traditionally don't flood were going to flood, and that low-lying areas close to the river were in danger. Our officers spent hours going back and forth. In that first hour, they evacuated over 100 homes and evacuated and rescued over 200 people. And to say that doesn't even come close to explaining the actions that took place. Door to door, waking people up, convincing them that yes, the floodwaters are coming and you need to leave now. They rescued people out of vehicles. They rescued people out of homes that were already flooding, pulling them out of windows. They entered water. There's a trailer park that flooded in minutes. One officer was there by himself, and he realized, I need help. He sounded his siren, driving up and down those streets that were beginning to flood, calling on his PA system for folks to wake up and evacuate. And then 2 other officers joined him through first thigh deep, then waist deep, then chest deep water, as they went from RVs and trailers and rescued people, carrying them to safety through the water. Out on old FM 689, there were 2 people trapped in the water, clinging to a tree. 2 officers were there when the 3rd one drove up. And one of them was wrapping a 100-foot flex line garden hose around his waist to go into the water and rescue those people. And those 3 officers went into the water, and one of them held that hose and acted as an anchor, while those other 2 made their way to those 2 victims, and they were able to evacuate them safely. Folks, I don't know how many lives our KPD team saved in an hour in Kerrville, but I know that this tragedy, as horrific as it is, could have been so much worse. And finally, I want to tell you about a member of our KPD team. These guys have been working around the clock. 4th of July traditionally is a all hands on deck event for us because we hold an amazing concert on the river. On July 4th, it was an all hands on deck event for a very different reason. But our officers have been working without time off, without any downtime. 16, 18, 20-hour shifts, without complaint. Yesterday was the first day we were able to give a couple of them some downtime. So we sent an officer home to rest. But rather than taking a day off, a much well-deserved day off, he got up and he put on his gear and he volunteered to go out on foot with a ground search party. And he spent his day up and down the Guadalupe River, going over, under, around trees, searching for victims to try and reunite the missing with their families. I think that is Texans helping Texans in the greatest sense of the word. That's what community is. And that's what's important right now. I want to continue to thank y'all for helping us spread the messages that need to be spread. Before I open this up for a very few questions, just ask you to please, just ask you to please say your name and who you're with before we do that. Yes, sir, right here. Oh, I'm sorry. The mayor is supposed to speak now. I apologize. Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Good morning, everyone. As Jonathan Lamb has said, this is also a story of heroes. Kevin Walter, thank you for all you've done. Every first responder, thank you for all you have done. The recent numbers reported break my heart. And they break the heart of everyone up here, everyone who's been working since July the 4th. I want you to know, I think it's important for the public to know, I think it's important for the families to know. In that emergency operations center, there's not little silos of departments and agencies. They're working as one team with one goal, to find the missing and bring them home. I'm grateful for every first responder, every helper in every field. Those who are feeding the hungry, those who are providing shelter to people who have no home, those who are providing clothing, who no longer have a wardrobe. I'm also grateful for the generosity of the world. Two companies that are hometown companies, companies that started in Kerrville, Texas, announced today and yesterday that they will be donating to the relief effort. Everyone in Kerrville is proud of HEB and James Avery Artisan Jewelry. Had a different name for so long, I'm sorry. Those two companies started here. Their heart is here. We are committed to helping others. After you all go home or go to the next story, we will still be here. We live here. We've lost friends here.
Trapping people in their homes, trapping people.
If you feel able to donate to the relief fund, the best source we are recommending is the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country. That's the community their website is communityfoundation.net. There's a link at the top of that page to help you donate. Now listen, I'm married to a retired first grade teacher. and I learned a little bit about classroom management from her. If you yell questions at us, we're probably going to pick someone else to answer, okay? So if you feel the need to yell your questions, I will feel the need to not answer your question. In first grade, they raised their hands. That might be a good start. Yesterday was a disaster, and I was embarrassed. Our town was embarrassed. Your viewers were embarrassed. And I don't want that to happen again. Now, I'm going to do something I've been told to do. I'm going to turn it back to Jonathan Lamb to start the question and answer period. However, please make my retired first grade teacher wife proud and raise your hands. Thank you.
Okay, once again, just say your name, please, and who you're with. And I had already called on you, so yes, sir.
Ernie's going to go with case at 12 San Antonio. Question for the sheriff. The code red alert system has come under a lot of scrutiny in recent days, and now there's reports of a timeline on Friday morning where an Ingram volunteer fire department commander asked a Kerr County Sheriff dispatcher for the code red to be issued. The dispatcher says, I can't, I have to get a supervisor's approval for that. Almost 6 hours passes until 10 o'clock, when 10:04, when the code red is issued. How do you account for that lapse of time? What happened and what could have happened at that time?
Okay. As I've said earlier, with every significant event, we're going, with every emergency, we're going to have to, there's going to be an after action. Please, y'all, listen to those words, after action, okay? Those questions are going to be answered. I believe those questions need to be answered to the family of the missed loved ones, to the public, to the people that put me in this office. Those need to be, and I want that answer, and we're going to get that answer. And I know that's going to be asked over and over. Please understand that. We're not running. We're not going to hide from everything. That's going to be checked into at a later time. I wish I could tell you that time. I don't know that time. Let me share something with y'all. One of the main things I've been doing is going and visiting the family. We still have some of those missed loved ones here. I go visit them twice a day. As a sheriff, what I want is I want closure for those people. Okay, and those are important questions. We will answer those questions. I wish y'all would bear with me in that. Okay, bear with me. We'll get them. I can't tell you in a week or two. Okay, we're going to get them. I'm not trying to deflect them. Okay, my primary. I asked you. I've been in this business 36 years. I don't know if any of y'all, how many of y'all have gave notifications, death notifications. I've done them. What is worse, a death notification or telling somebody I don't know where your loved one was? That's my priority. Okay, now please understand that.
Sergeant Lamb. Sergeant Lamb. Sergeant Lamb.
Tammy from the Hill Country Community Journal.
Yes, we talked a lot about the recovery effort, and it's amazing, but I wonder what we can tell the displaced families. Where do they go? How do they get in touch with FEMA? I think there's a lot of that, and we haven't had a chance to discuss it.
Right, so unfortunately I don't have the FEMA number. I know there is a FEMA hotline specifically for this, and I don't have it at my fingertips, and I apologize for that. We are pushing out the recovery information through our social media post. The First United Methodist Church, 321 Thompson Drive, is still the shelter operation for displaced persons through this disaster. They are fully equipped and still accepting folks.
Sergeant Lamb.
Yes, sir. Louis Amastor from the Kerr County League.
Yeah. Sergeant Lamb, yesterday the governor's office said there was 161 missing. Is that a Kerr County number, or is that a roll-up number? Where are we at with the number of missing?
It's my understanding that the number that the governor referred to was a Kerr County number. And again, I have no reason to doubt that number, and it was compiled from the best available information. But we are asking folks to make sure that the numbers that we have are accurate. So if somebody has been reported missing and they have now been accounted for, please let us know that so we can revise those numbers and make sure that they continue to be accurate. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Juanita, with Telemundo NBC. Yesterday, Governor Abbott said that 2 days prior to the disaster, he had provided resources, and they were here on ground. I know this is a question for the mayor, but he said you guys were prepared, that you had those essentials. what happened? Did you guys have those resources?
Yeah, listen, I'm going to just say what has already been said. At the appropriate time, all of that is going to be reviewed and checked into. I don't have the answer to that question right now. I don't have that information. And rather than speculate, it would be irresponsible for me to do that. So,
Could you speak on that?
Repeat the question, please.
Yesterday, Governor Greg Abbott said 2 days prior to the disaster, he had provided the town with more than enough resources to respond to the disaster. Were those resources here local? So as they didn't see any resources, they didn't see anyone until hours after the disaster.
Thank you.
What resources did you guys have, and why wasn't there any response?
Okay. I didn't see the governor's remarks. I haven't seen the governor's remarks. Last night we had a city council meeting, and I was required to be there. And so I'm sorry, I don't know what resources TDM had in place at that time. I know when I arrived at the Emergency Operations Center on the morning of July 4th, there were TDM personnel there. But what assets they were able to use that morning, I'm sorry, I do not know.
Mr. Mayor,
Listen, people are yelling, and I didn't really want y'all to.
If you offer only 3 questions, then you're going to have.
And guess what? You're in Kerrville, and we're going to do it my way.
I understand that.
Morgan Chesky, please.
Mr. Mayor, records show that the concept of flood warnings have been discussed at least 24 times by the county. What's the biggest reason that these systems have not gone into place at this point?
You know, Morgan, you and I grew up here. And I wasn't in office during those discussions. And frankly, I'm more focused on the future than the past, as you know. What I can say is the governor, the lieutenant governor, the Speaker of the Texas House have all provided us support, and they have all said this is a priority for the upcoming special legislative session. As mayor of Kerrville, as someone who grew up here, I am grateful for their support, and I look forward to what they propose during the special session. My last question will be you.
Thank you, sir. Shimon Prokopas from CNN. The lieutenant governor said that on July 3rd that the county judges and city mayors were invited on a daily call Thursday to discuss weather forecasts. Were you on that call? Were you invited to that call? Do you know if the county judge was also on that?
I can't speak for the county judge. That would be hearsay. And I'm not going to contradict the information you have. But I will tell you, personally, I did not receive a telephone call.
You weren't invited to the call?
I did not receive a telephone call.
And you were never given any information about what assets were brought into the area?
So I wasn't invited to the call. I'm not trying to deflect, but I don't.
Do you know why that would happen?
Maybe I'm not a local mayor. I can't tell.
No.
All right. Thank you, guys.
From Mexico.
All right, folks, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the decorum that was shown this morning. So, as y'all are aware, gentlemen,
Sheriff, you still have people counting on you.
just do me a favor. I'm not quite finished yet. All right. So, as y'all are aware, there's not going to be a 1500 presser. What we are going to do is send out an update, any updates through the email list. And once again, if you haven't gotten on our email list, that's going to be JIC, J-I-C, at kerrvilletx.gov. I'll give it to you again, JIC at kerrvilletx.gov. Thank y'all.
Sergeant, what time did your fellow officer, what time did your fellow officer come on?
All right, so that was the update. There was a little tension towards the end of that update. Give me one moment here. Give me one moment. I'm going to take some of your comments on the air. Hang on. Hang on one sec. I want to mention the donation site too. One moment. So, as we've been talking about during the stream, and as you could obviously see from the press conference, there are a lot of questions about the response and the preparation, the response to the flooding, the preparation for the flooding, and whether something more could and should have been done. And some tension from some reporters who wanted to ask questions. Okay, so I want to read some of your comments. Austin Batman says, feel sorry for Mayor Joe. He is exhausted and has been through a lot. Ivory John says, I know the mayor's overwhelmed. I think he for sure needs someone who can handle the press and their questions if he doesn't feel capable. Rudolph Hessian says, what a mini mayor. Zep says, my heart goes out to these people. I think Zep means the people speaking. It's not easy on them either. YD mentions the loss of life and still missing people in Travis County, Texas. Yeah, I think Travis County, I read earlier today how many people had passed away there, and they lost a number of people there too. To be clear, with the Travis County updates, I haven't checked today, but in the past, I have not had access to the footage. I know a few days ago they were doing a briefing. I think the first briefing they did. And I didn't have access to it through news agencies that I pay for, and they didn't broadcast it online themselves. So I couldn't show it. So I will keep an eye out for more from them. I have to look up and see what the latest number is for there. But that's different from Kerr County, Travis County. I believe it is, well, that's not up to date, that article. I was trying to find you an up-to-date article with the up-to-date figures from Travis County. Is it 10 or something? I don't know. Was it 10 people? If I could find it quickly here, I would tell you. I can't. I'm checking a bunch of local sources, and I was trying to find the latest on it, and I can't find it. I thought maybe I'd heard 10, but I'm not sure. But yes, I mean, I think it's important. I think there's a focus on Kerr County because of the camp is there and the sheer number of people there who are dead and missing. But there have been dead and missing in other counties as well. So I appreciate that reminder. I might be wrong at the number of total fatalities in Travis County at the moment. Yes, I'm sorry. So, in Travis County, here's an update. Andrew Freeman of CBS Austin earlier today said that according to Travis County, 7 people have died in Travis County from the flooding and 10 are still missing. So again, 7 dead and 10 missing in Travis County from flooding. I mean, that in itself, 17 people, 7 dead and 10 accounted for. That in itself is a huge number. Oh, and I did want to mention, I'm sorry, it was mentioned in the press conference in Kerrville, and I wanted to mention it here. Oops, where is it here? Where is it? Oh, it's right, I'm sorry, I'll show you right now. This is the Community Foundation for the Texas Hill Country, and that is the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. And that is the fund that the mayor of Kerr County recommended and that the county has recommended in their press conferences. So that's, if you're looking to donate, that's one place you could. That is the one he mentioned. I'll post a link to it in case people want it, because sometimes people ask me, but it was, I know it was actually mentioned in the press conference. So that's the one I donated to. I'll post a link in the chat if you give me 2 seconds. Oh, and there was also a new flood alert. Additional rainfall amounts up to 1 inch are expected. This additional rain will result in minor flooding. That was from 2 hours ago in Kerr County. Hang on, I'll show you that. Where is the... I just want to make sure I have that exact correct link. Here it is, right here. Here is the link to the Kerr County Relief Fund for those who want it. So I just posted that in the chat, that link. Community Foundation for the Texas Hill Country. Also, another thing you can do if you're looking to donate is, for example, if you go to GoFundMe.com, and it says Texas flooding, donate to support, and if you click on that, they actually, GoFundMe has started their own flood relief fund. So they have their own fund, and they also, I believe they have links. I know previously they had like a page where you could go, is it at the bottom here? Featured topics. Oh, donate to to Texas flood relief fundraisers. And you can click on that, and they have a bunch of fundraisers that they have verified, I believe they say. Anyways, that's just another, you can look around there if you want. I'm just putting that out there as 2 options for you if you're looking. Okay. And by the way, I'm going to say a couple thank yous to John Paul Lichans, by the way, I think has given at this point several hundred memberships to his fellow chatters. So I do want to thank him in a second. It's very nice of him. And thank some other people. But I think what we're going to do right now is, oh, and let me just really quick show you what the county posted about the flood warning a couple hours ago. Because I mentioned it. It said here, Kerr County issues code red flash flood alert. This was 2 hours ago, it says. And it was actually about 2.5 hours ago. It said until 8 p.m. in Kerr County, so I guess that's over now. It's over now. Impacts minor flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas. Some low water crossings may become impassable. River or stream flows are elevated. Additional rainfall amounts of up to 1 inch are expected. But that's already passed because it says 8 p.m. local. Anyways, I wanted to let you know about that. So I don't know what code red means there, but I just wanted to mention that. All right, look. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. I'm away for a few days. I decided to go away for a few days, but I have my work stuff with me, and I did want to do an update on this. If there's some other big stories while I'm away, I will do my best to jump on the air. But that is why it looks and sounds a little different. But I very much appreciate you joining, and I will certainly, if there's big updates, maybe we'll do another live stream on this. Certainly. Again, condolences to anybody who's lost anyone in that community. I mean, it's a lot of people. It's close to, the numbers on your screen, it's like up to close to 300 people total between the dead and missing. And everybody, so many people impacted, losing property, losing loved ones, thoughts with that whole community and other people who are injured, I'm sure. So anyways, I will keep an eye out. I will post updates on my Twitter account, which is @Lookner. You can follow me there. My X account, @Lookner on X. I'll post a link to that in the chat. And again, if there's huge news on this or there's some big other news, I'll do my best to get on while I'm away. I really appreciate you guys being here for the stream. And also thanks to people who've been sending me links and updates that you're hearing about, and also for passing along your comments and your questions. Thanks for letting me read them on the air. I will keep an eye out for more updates. But it's terrible. It's really bad. Let's hope the numbers don't keep going up. But I mean, it's kind of unthinkable to me with this many people. We're talking about close to 300 people. It was unthinkable when it was over 100. And I really appreciate also our moderators who have been here. Our moderators are awesome. They are the ones who keep things under control in the chat and respectful, even though we have people with different views talking. So thanks so much to them for being here. For example, people like Ruth Kafasi and Janet B over there on YouTube, and BZ during the broadcast, and all of our YouTube moderators, thank you so much. And over on Facebook, Kay Larry Body and Margaret Riley, Paul Anderson, Christina Neal, Valerie Gail Griffin. On Twitch, people such as Big Ball of Yarn, I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah, and all of our other Twitch moderators. And also Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. Thank you so much to all of our mods. Very much appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who has supported the channel. That is how this channel can stay on the air and buy news footage and stuff. So I really, really greatly appreciate your support for the channel. I do want to say a special thanks to Jean-Paul Lachance, who I lost count. I think Jean-Paul gave about 320 or so memberships. Am I getting that right? To people in the chat tonight on YouTube, which is incredibly generous, and it's really nice to have more members in the chat. So please let me know if I hope I'm not understating it. I'm trying to get it right. But so generous of Jean-Paul. So thank you, Jean-Paul. And thank you to everybody else. I owe a couple other thank yous here. Allison Hargroves, thank you for the memberships. Ed Weeby, thank you for the memberships. And Sevenfold 777, Dennis Kennedy, W. Ross, Josh White, thank you. And also on Twitch, Lloyd Christmas and Bad Toastery, I owe thank yous to. So, also Kristen Gates over on Facebook, I owe a thank you to Kristen. But thanks for supporting the channel. Thank you so much to everybody else who's been watching, just watching the broadcast. I really appreciate you tuning in. And a special acknowledgement to anybody who might be watching from the area that has been impacted. What was I going to say? I would suggest, if you want to subscribe, follow the channel. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda, agenda-free TV. I don't know in advance what our schedule is because I don't know when big breaking news is going to happen, but I would suggest if you don't want to miss a broadcast, sign up for our notifications. They are free. We have our own notification system. It works really well, and you'll get sent a notification whenever we go live, so you don't miss a broadcast. The link, the mods will post the link to the notifications in the chat. You can also find it in the description of this video. You can find the link to the notifications on YouTube and Facebook in the description. Oh, thanks Billy Joe Drage and Jeeves Sritharan. Billy Joe and Jeeves, thanks for the Facebook stars. Very much appreciate that. I think I thanked Bruce Hodge and Teresa Gassler earlier. I hope I did. I think I did. Thank you for the Facebook stars. In addition to our notifications, at the same link for the notifications, you can find our free chat, our Discord chat, where a number of our viewers chat when we're not on the air. You can chat there in our Discord chat room. It's free, so check that out as well if you want. Same link as the notifications. And thanks so much to our Discord mods for everything you do as well. Another good way, by the way, to find out when we're live is follow us on X. If you're on X, follow us there. We're at Agenda Free TV, as you can see on your screen right now. I always post there when we're going live. I post when there's updates about the channel, so you can follow us over there. And for those of you on YouTube, I would suggest turning on the YouTube notifications. That can help you figure out when we're live. Sorry, it's a little tricky though to turn those on. So if you want to turn on the YouTube notifications, what you have to do is you have to subscribe to the channel. Then you have to click this bell and choose all notifications. So subscribe, click the bell, choose all notifications to get the YouTube notifications. Thanks DC50, our new member. Thank you, DC50. Sorry. Also, a shout out to our Facebook subscribers who subscribe and support the channel over there, like Rita Evans-Lang, Aaron Van Ness, and thank you to Billy Joe, thanks Billy Joe Drage for the stars, Kayla Ribati and Margaret Riley for subscribing, and Martha Crawford, Robert Real II, Lou Knight, Kristen McConnell Gates, Christy Claft, and all of our other Facebook subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting over there on Facebook. And also over there on, thanks also Gaynor Michelle Betts for watching from Australia. Thanks to our Twitch subscribers as well for all of your support, like Tatsiki, Minidisc, LCS Fox, Wall Street Shaggy, and Sarah, Cece, Douthis, Jazzy Renee, Minidisc, Bad Toastery, Mario Terras, thanks Mario, Ree the Kiwi, Gina Pina, and Lloyd Christmas. Remove Glazers now. All of our other Twitch subscribers, thanks so much for supporting over there. And our YouTube members, thanks for being YouTube members, like and our new YouTube members. Thanks to Jean Paul Lachance and everybody else who gave memberships, a bunch of new YouTube members, like Chaz Martin, Wickedest Witch, BSH, Bluesy Girl, Thomas Darwin, Joe Hart, Eric Johnson, I Need Coffee, Johnny58, Dean R, CC Truck, Edwina Stowski, Serena, The Ringa X. Thanks the Ringa for your support as well, the Ringa X. I appreciate that. Eddie V, and Evelyn V, Allison Hargroves, thank you. Dean R, 2-Bit Drifter, Lola, Jean Paul Lachance, thank you. CC Truck, and CAC 813. And Dean R., Waltham, Lori Fry Duncan, K. Overcash, Dr. McRib, Awkward Texan, Roger Shoemaker, Debbie B., Big Mike, Kiwi Grill, Jen Haneke, Getcha Pull, Nicole, Molly O., Austin Batman, Serena, Billy Ehas, Lynn Z., Sean T., thanks for being YouTube members. Sydney, Bama Fan, Wendy Lance, Songbird, Lucy Goosey, Sevenfold, Pastasaurus, 2-Bit Drifter, PH Survivor, Red Girl, Aussie Joe, Gary Pates, and all of our other members over there. Don, Joe Mo. Oh, thank you, AZ Intel's dad. That's so nice of you. Thanks so much for all your support. AZ Intel's dad, thank you. Lori Fry Duncan, thanks for being a member. And thanks everybody else who's been watching. I appreciate you watching. All right, guys. So Juliana Martin says, I hope all the missing can be found. I mean, sadly, I think the last live, I think yesterday they said the last live recovery was Friday, so hope they can find at least some of the people who are missing. I mean, maybe some of the people who are missing, sometimes what happens is they have been found and they get put on the list and then they only found out later that they were found. So maybe some people will call up and say, hey, this person I reported missing earlier, they've been found. Or they showed up, so, and they just haven't called it in yet. So let's hope that happens. Thanks, Bill Anderson, for watching. Carol Thorpe Stankard, Audrey Burbank, KK, and Kathy. All right, we are wrapping this up. Daniel Israel, Rebecca Chewy, Relaxation Time. All right, so I am wrapping up this live stream. We've been bringing you an update about the Texas flooding. Sorry we couldn't get on yesterday to talk about this huge number of people missing. I was traveling yesterday, but we did it today instead. So, so that is it for now. Again, thank you to our mods and thanks to you for watching. And we will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.